I'm going to call the meeting to order. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, April 27, 2026 meeting of the Westport Select Board. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. For welcome comments, I first want to welcome Rick Mundy to the board. Rick was elected on April 14, and welcome back Jake McGuigan, who was also elected on April 14. And congratulations to all the people who were elected. We had quite a number of contested races. And thank you to all of the poll workers, the police details, the town clerk's office, the registrars of voters, everybody that made the election run very smoothly on April 14. And thank you to all the candidates, whether you won or lost. It's good for democracy to have some competition. I also have a few acknowledgments I wanted to raise. We were a busy group of these last couple weeks around our town. So we had the Clean Our Westport event on April 11. So I know that they had several hundred people out there picking up trash. Did anybody hear any numbers of?
Yeah, I think that, well, I know they had over 200, about 220 people. It was the largest turnout that Cal has ever had. So it was a great turnout, great day. I think that made it even better. So it was good.
Yeah, so thank you to everyone who volunteered for that. And don't throw your nips outside of the road, okay? Crazy, the amount of nips you pick up. I also want to thank the Westport River Watershed Alliance. They had an electronics recycling day April 22nd. And then I just want to call your attention to a few future events. On Thursday, April 30th, there is a reenactment of Westport's Paul Revere. So this is the Abner Brownell. Our fearless reporter back there pointed out this rain is in the forecast. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but for now, they're scheduled to have a reenactment of the ride at the Historical Society at 10 o'clock on April 30th, at the Council on Aging at 11 o'clock on April 30th, and then they're going to go do some events at the schools for the school department. So April 30th, stay tuned. I'm sure it's on social media if it's not going to happen. And then a reminder to everyone that the annual town meeting is next week. So it's on Tuesday, May 5th at 7 p.m., and that's at the Westport Middle High School. That's the new school. So all registered voters are welcome and encouraged to attend. You may have seen a posting for a meeting to talk about town meeting. So Chris Vitale is going to be doing a session tomorrow where he's going to review all the warrant. It's posted on the website. He's going to review the warrant. He's going to review the supplemental material, which kind of explains what the motions are and kind of gives a little more English language, easier to read version of the warrant. And then answer any questions. So we are going to talk about the warrant tonight in this meeting, but that will be available. So Tuesday, May 5th. Our next meeting, we will have a meeting at 6:30 on May 5th of this board, as traditionally we do before a town meeting. And then the next meeting that we'll have after that is May 11. But after that, we don't have another meeting until June 1. So Memorial Day caught up. So we only have one proper May meeting on May 11. Was there any announcements that I missed? Acknowledgements?
Don't think so.
Okay, so our first order of business is a reorganization of the board where we select a chair and vice chair and clerk.
Well, I nominate Shauna Teese to be the chair of the board.
Second.
So there have a nomination and a second. Is there a discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. That's unanimous. Did you say aye?
I said aye.
Okay. I couldn't tell.
Don't start off on the wrong foot.
I said aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your support. Do we have a nomination for vice chair?
Madam Chair, I've served in this position for some time, but I do think turnover is good and new faces and new ideas. So with that in mind, I would nominate Jake McGuigan to be the next vice chair.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous.
Then we have a hazing ritual, which is the new guy gets elected as clerk.
I nominate Jake McGuigan.
Jake, this is Jake's last
I'm passing it on.
step, he's passing it
Thank you.
on. So,
Are you moving Rick Mundy as
yes, I
clerk?
am.
Second.
Is there- It is tradition to have the newest member be the clerk, although we did let him know that Carla does most of the work. You're welcome. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right, thank you very much. So now we're moving on to our public hearings. The first public hearing is a request to approve an increase to the annual parking permit fee at Hicks Bridge East and Hicks Bridge West from $30 to $40. Chris reminded me that we actually did vote on this at a previous meeting. We voted to increase it to $40, but there was a clerical error or there's a misunderstanding. So you want to explain that?
Certainly. So the board did approve this increase at its March 23rd meeting. This came as a recommendation from the Landing Commission. You know, when we went back over the process for a fee increase like this, it did require that the town post it as a public hearing and have a 7-day notice period, which we did not do that this past time when it was approved. So we did repost it to the agenda with the proper notice period so the board could reconsider this request.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any discussion?
Chris, and I don't know how we're going to handle this because I believe a lot of people can start getting their permits, parking permits prior to when we did this in March. They could have been doing it in January. So if somebody has already paid $30 for their permit, now
So,
we're going to pay 40, how's that going to work?
yeah, so when we did discover that, we actually did not go through with changing it with our vendor where we process these requests, so that it hasn't been implemented, I guess
Okay.
is the long and short of
So
it.
those that have already applied are going to,
It's been at the current rate.
okay, so now we're going to, effective today.
Well,
Well, is the current rate $30 or $40?
the current rate is $30.
So anybody who's already purchased it paid $30.
That's correct.
So if we were to vote to change it,
It
it would
would-
be anyone after we vote.
Or if there was a certain date,
Or-
if it wasn't immediate, if the board implemented it July 1 or a different date, we would work with our vendor. It won't be instantaneous because it does take some time for our vendor to make the change, but, you know, we would work on that based on what the
The-
board decides.
Is the landing commission, or are we dependent on the extra revenue for the $10 extra revenue for anything specific with respect to budgeting concerns?
So as part of the recommendation was sent over, that wasn't made clear to me.
Okay.
If they were factoring in those increases. Yeah.
So approximately how long is it going to take to get the vendor on board?
So actually, this evening, this is a good question, because Paula is here this evening, and this was something that we had talked about. Paula, do you have an idea? Is it a week or 2 weeks, or?
I don't think it's longer than 2 weeks.
Okay, so it'd be about 2 weeks, I would say, for that rate to go live for the public.
So I just have a couple more questions. I know you and Chris Gonzalez are kind of working on it. Right now, currently, and hopefully it changes, the staging or using that landing as a staging area for construction equipment.
Yes.
For the Hicks Bridge project.
Yes.
Is that going to continue because?
No, so I did have a conversation with Highway today, and they had a conversation with their project team. We are asking that they relocate it and their equipment and their materials over to the yard
Perfect.
here. So
Thank you.
we did ask that that be done by the end of day tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I mean, my thought is maybe can you do like a June 1, so you give people a month to either they get their $30 permit, if not, if they're late and it's after Memorial Day, they're June 1, they're gonna pay the $40. So at least there's leeway that people who bought it at 30 aren't all of a sudden, you know, tomorrow or in a week, it ends up being $40. I don't know, that's my only thought, is it gives people time or opportunity to at least get it at the $30 rate, if there's nothing dependent on that extra $10 increase. Is that okay? I don't know.
Okay. I didn't hear a motion in that, though.
Okay, motion to increase the parking permit for Hicksbridge East and Hicksbridge West to $40, implemented as of June 1.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? This is a public hearing. Is there any comments from the public? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. The next item we have is renewals of the private shellfish aquaculture licenses of Carrie and Fennelly, 117 Cross Road, for the 3-acre site known as Lee's Wharf Site 1, and the 3-acre site known as East Branch Number 1. Kristen Fennelly of 2065 Main Road for the 3-acre site known as East Branch 2. Christine Fennelly, 658 Old Harbor Road for the 3-acre site known as East Branch 3. And this 3-acre site known as Lee's Wharf Number 2. So I believe one of the Fennellys is here with us today.
I am. Most of the women are at lacrosse tonight, so I'm here with you all.
Okay, so are you making any changes? This is, you currently have this, right? This is currently where you're situated. There's no changes or anything?
No changes at all. This will bring us to 20 years, I believe. After this renewal, 3 more years, we're at 17 now, so.
Fine. Do we have any comments or questions? Yeah?
Question for really the town administrator. Are there people interested in these licenses, or is this pretty much the only applicant?
So I'll actually have Paul come up and speak to that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the licenses come up every 3 years. We have to notify the wait list when it does come up. So we notify the wait list. No one was interested in these lots. We notify the harbor master. There was a public hearing announcement, and it was advertised, and so the applications are in, so there are no other. We have 7 people on a waiting list, and nobody else is interested right now.
Okay.
They are interested in staying on the waiting list,
Yeah.
but they're not interested in these particular parcels.
That answers my
So
question.
everything's in order.
So for my own education, then, if one of the waitlist members were interested, would that enact a bidding process, or how would it go from there?
It would be a whole application process, and at that point, it would really be at the board's discretion. They'd have to interview, and I've never had anybody else come forward, but that would be, I've always been told that it could be, that's why we notify the wait list. So if someone came back and said, well, we want it, then it would be a hit and run game, I assume.
Being a current license holder, we have gear on site, we have oysters on site. So it isn't like we've taken everything ashore waiting for this. We just continue our normal processes.
That's status quo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This is a public hearing. Is there any comments from the public? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
We have a request from Verizon New England, Inc. and NStar Electric Company doing business as Eversource to install 5 jointly owned mid-span poles on the east side of Horseneck Road. Welcome back.
Good afternoon. Good evening, I should say. It's not an afternoon.
You want to explain can you just introduce yourselves and then tell us what you
Sure, I'm Kate Rugman, for the record, and I'm representing Verizon.
Jessica Elder, thank you again for having me back, representing Eversource.
So the proposal, I believe you probably have it in your packets, but for the larger audience as well, this proposal is along Horseneck Road. It's part of a larger project along that whole road, and an ongoing project. There's been other poles that have been approved as well by this board. This particular application and petition is for 5 new joint-owned poles all along, as enumerated on the sketch that was given to the board, kind of starting near 875 Horseneck Road and then running north toward Cross Street. And each one is is sort of giving a midspan to the existing pole, and it's marked out on the sketch as well as in your actual petition documentation relative to the distances between each.
So I couldn't tell on here, I don't see lot lines on here. Is this like one contiguous property owner? There, it doesn't look like there's homes on this
There's,
particular front here.
there's 5 property owners.
Right,
Four.
but are they on the, oh, wait, here we go, okay. All right, any questions from the board? This is a public hearing. Is there any comment from the public? Okay, so what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, move approval of this measure.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we have 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna give it
I'm like, is he gonna, is he gonna? I come here, look at, I come here just for that. There's one day. That's
No
gonna be-
questions, you're not getting any questions at least.
I just want to point out while you're standing here, or while you're sitting here, the next thing on our agenda is to talk about half marathon, a race that's going on, and we talked about the races and. that we're
Oh,
gonna
absolutely.
coordinate, and-
We have definitely been in coordination. Matter of fact, Anthony has sent me a bunch of the events, so I know he's been in contact with Chris as well and with the police department. just-
And I, on Verizon 2, had emailed back and forth with Carla as well and spoke to exactly Eversource too. So,
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item, we have a request from New England Race Events LLC to hold the Horse Neck Half Marathon and 3.5-mile run on Sunday, May 17, from 9 to 1, along with a request for a one-day wine and malt license for the event. So we did get all the paperwork in order. We have the police recommendation.
And I think this has gone on for
This
few
is
years
several
without
years
incident,
they've
so,
done this
yeah.
now, yeah.
I move approval of the permit.
Second.
Do you have move approval subject to the police recommendation?
Oh, I thought you said we had a positive.
We have a recommendation
Yeah, we
from
do.
the police for
Okay.
details and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. We have a request from the police aren't having anybody come?
No.
No, okay. We have a request from Police Chief Christopher Dunn to reappoint the following members to the position of full-time police officer effective April 2026. Just, Rick, for your information, so the police department, we have to make the initial appointments, and then for the first couple of years, we have to make the appointments, and then after that, then the chief does it. But these guys are both already on the force, so this is just a reappointment. So we have Andrew Silva and Justin De Silva. Do you have a recommendation?
I move approval.
Second.
Recommend approval.
Okay, thank you.
You're
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We have a request from Police Chief Christopher Dunn to accept the resignation of Kelsey Carvalho effective May 7, and to post the full-time dispatcher E911 position internally and externally simultaneously. There is a note in the request that obviously they would give internal candidates higher priority.
Yes, and we have reached out to the union, and the union is okay with us doing that.
Great. Do you have a recommendation?
Recommend acceptance and approval to post simultaneously.
Madam, I make that motion for both those items?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. We have a request from Cindy Wilson to accept her resignation from the Recreation Commission effective April 13.
Reluctantly make a motion to accept her resignation.
She's going to be a great loss.
Yep.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. We have a request from Director of Marine Services, Captain Bill Chase, to appoint the following members to Assistant Harbor Master: Alex Rao, Elizabeth Kinane, and Zach Carter.
So good evening, everyone. About a month ago, we put out an ad for seasonal help for the Rain Services Department for the summer. And we've come up with 4 names. 3 of them are cadets at Mass Maritime Academy, which is why they're not here tonight. They're in class where they should be. And the 4th individual is a former member of the U.S. Coast Guard, spent 13 years in the service. Let me just break them down as in the order that we interviewed them. So Alex Rao lives over on Sodom Road with his wife and twin daughters. He was a U.S. Coast Guardsman for 13 years, rose to the rank of Chief Petty Officer. He was a very impressive young man, not only by the rank that he achieved, but the fact that he taught other young Coast Guardsmen the way of the Coast Guard during his tenure. So we're putting his name forward. He did tell us, I have to qualify this a little bit, he did say, I am looking for other avenues post my Coast Guard experience, so we don't know how long we're going to have him, but we'll make the best use of him while he's here. Elizabeth Kinane was the second one. She is a second-year cadet at Mass Maritime. Very impressive young lady. She represents the school in a lot of the functions that they have to bring in high school students. She's a collegiate soccer player, and in her spare time, she tutors underclassmen in academics. And I think Rick and I were very impressed by this young lady. The third is Zach Carter. Oh, by the way, Elizabeth lives over on Drift Road. Zach Carter lives on Sodom Road as well. He's a first-year cadet at Mass Maritime. He's also a lifeguard over at Horse Neck Beach and has been for 2 years. This young man shows his commitment to community and just a terrific young kid. So we're putting those 3 names out for approval as Assistant Harbor Masters for the 2026 season, and we hope beyond.
Oh, thank you.
I'll move that recommendation.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. And I just want to note, Ms. Kinane is our first harbor master, or assistant harbor master, her first female.
Yes, she is.
Assistant harbor master.
Yes, she is.
Welcome aboard, Elizabeth. I think we have
Any
a.
of you know her? Yeah?
I don't.
Wait till you.
Bless you. I think you're also here interested in agenda 5G, about the boat ramp. Do you have I was gonna bump that up in the agenda if you had anything to say.
Oh, this is the approval of the MOU.
The
Yes.
approval of the MOU for the.
Oh, we were just waiting for the whole process to find its way to.
So if it's okay with the board, I want to bump up 5G. So the 5G is the request to approve the memorandum of MOA.
Yeah.
Memorandum
Agreement.
of agreement between DCR and the town of Westport for operating the Westport River boat launch and overflow parking. So Chris, do you want to tell us what that is?
Certainly. So this has been something that works for several months now. This is for the boat launch at Sherian Webb and the overflow lot that it's nearby. This is a state property that the town would like to utilize and take advantage of. In order to continue to do so, DCR asks that the town enter into a MOA for the operation of the facility. So what you have in your packet this evening is the result of several conversations over the last number of months so that we could get something that was to the benefit of the state and to the town. So the term of this is just about a 5-year agreement. As part of the proposal, the town would pay 25% of the gross revenue to DCR. So that's what we collect in parking fees, less any enforcement fines that we issue. In addition to that, the town would charge a $2 surcharge per vehicle starting in 2027, with that funding going into the Horseneck Beach Trust. So that fund ultimately, the dollars there ultimately flow back to the town for public safety expenses. So, that funding isn't leaving our borders. Under the agreement, the town will be responsible for operating, maintaining, and managing the site. We would handle the parking system, maintenance, and other, requirements as needed. So from DCR's piece of it, they would still have to review and approve the fee collection and what we send them. There is provisions in there if we wish to terminate the agreement. There's also conditions that are there with regards to insurance requirements and liability, what would fall on the state, what would fall on the town. And, with that, I would recommend approval.
Thank you. And then you're mostly the one that's going to be enforcing down there, right? Do you have are you okay
Yeah,
with
that's
it?
the way it's looking, Madam Chair. But, so this whole thing came about between Rick and Chris Gonzalez. They kind of took a look at the overflow parking lot and said we can really make some improvements here to make more room for more trailers, so on and so forth. Hopefully enhance a little bit of revenue at the same time. But because it's state property, we had to go through the process to get this approved. So Rick and Chris are just waiting to get in there as soon as we have to go.
Thank you.
But I think these are improvements that are a long time coming.
Great. Any questions or comments? Of course.
So I've been bringing this up numerous times, and my concern is that if we make this a larger parking lot, and I haven't gotten a clear understanding as to what the penalties or fines will be for parking in there, as a property owner at the end of Bridge Road, this can become a mess with respect to beach parking, people going there to park in order to go down to the end of Bridge Road. And it's my understanding that the fine for parking there is, as of right now, only $25, which is less than what they charge for an out-of-state plate to go to DCR property. So my concern is if we give more space, I just don't know what this enforcement is going to be like. I know we have a town warrant which may increase fines to $200, which I'd love to see in this situation, but I'm just laying it out there now that I have a feeling, and many of the members at Baker's Beach are offenders of this too, because they can only get one car in, so they go park there and their family walks down and I end up yelling at them anyway. But that doesn't change the fact of, if we're increasing capacity, that this could be severely abused by people who are non-residents, per se. So it's my concern. I don't know where we're going to go with the enforcement or the fines with that.
I don't disagree with any of that, Jake. Obviously, you make a bigger parking lot, you're gonna draw a bigger crowd. One thing that will be in place that Rick can speak to is a different method of payment. So this is all going online, which will give us more in the field of enforcement. So you're basically using the QR code to pay your fee. That ends up on the platform that we're using. The police have access to that platform. So when they drive into the parking lot, they're gonna have a list of those license plates that have paid and those that have not. So I think the short answer to your concern is enforcement needs to be stronger and more robust, if you will. And I think we are very cognizant of that.
And just in the past, and it's actually a better thing because on Bridge Road, obviously, there was parking up and down Bridge Road, which made it almost inaccessible to go up and down that road. So a lot of surfers go down there, which I don't have an issue with, but that may end up being a problem because they're actually doing the right thing now by going down there and parking. So it's just kind of a delicate balance that you're going to have to kind of deal with. My only other concern with the kiosk, and I've seen that at the DCR property, is first, they implemented it and they didn't really have good coverage, wireless coverage. And then secondly, getting people to comply with that in a huge parking lot. I've been told they're lucky if they're getting 25 or 30% compliance paying for parking when they go to DCR, which used to be the highest revenue generating property in the Commonwealth. So again, I'm just more concerned about enforcement and what that's going to be, what that'll turn into down there.
Well, I think just a little bit of context, Jake. Enforcement, as of July 2nd last year, the best numbers that Rick and Kevin and I came up with was about 50% of the folks that were using the ramp were actually paying for it. So we instituted the little red cards that they had to, once they paid their $5, the little red card ended up on their dash so police could come along and see, has he paid or has he not? That was a Band-Aid basically for us, just to get through the season. Now going into 2026 with this online platform, I think enforcement will be enhanced through that. Anything you want to say about this? This is Rick's baby, he's done a great job.
Oh, so I can blame Rick then? All right.
You know how it goes. You know, like the director said, first of all, Rick and Jake, congratulations on your new appointment. Well, a new adventure, I guess, huh? But very quickly, like the director said, there's going to be, the biggest piece is going to be the cooperative agreement like we had last year with the Westport Police Department. We have a good working relationship with the people over there. Some of them partner with us on the river every weekend. They have an investment in this now, and add that to better signage, better understanding of the rules. When we get a chance to square that away, which we will very shortly, we're gonna be repainting lines, we're gonna be identifying places where vehicles can park, signage. It's gonna be this is more organizational than anything to bring order out of chaos. So, you know, I fully believe, as the director believes, that this is gonna be an addition to our operational procedures down there and how we work through it. So we're excited about it, but I think that once people get in the groove and they start to understand what we're doing through signage, through awareness, we'll be able to hopefully restrict or reduce the problems that you say, Jake. And Jake, I agree. I mean, I think we all agree that a $25 parking fine that's a bonus, that's a gift. And how we get through that, that's another piece. But we'll get the mechanism in place, and then we take the next step from there.
I have a couple questions. So what's the current fee to park there? Is there a fee if you're not launching a boat?
It was $5, it's going to 10 now.
Okay, what's the mechanism for not paying the fee? Because like I have parked there before and gone to the restaurant next door.
Don't do that anymore.
Actually, so have
I think he owes us money.
Want to get his name before you? So the mechanism is, if we take a trip through the parking lot, Rick, and we suspect that there are others, and I have to say this much, we will have the same information that the police have. If Rick and I drive through the ramp and take a look at who's paid and who hasn't, if there are half a dozen who hasn't paid, then a quick call to dispatch at police always gets a response for us. So they will come down and do the ticketing as we call them. I mean, they've got other things to do for sure. But I can tell you that every time we've asked them to come down over the course of last summer, they were there.
Now, it says we have to put an automated kiosk in on January 1st, 2027. What's the cost of the town on that, do we know?
You're talking about the $2 per vehicle?
No, it says there's a $2 per vehicle fee that goes into the fund, and then the cost to park there, which isn't outlined in the letter of agreement, which I assume isn't gonna go up, it's probably gonna stay at the $5, right?
It is currently $5. We wanted to make it 10 at the beginning of the season, but we are implementing this online process, so that's all going to happen at the same time.
But the kiosk is already going to be in place. It's not.
It says January 1st, 2027 will
Is
require.
the kiosk in,
there.
is the kiosk in already, or when is it gonna get put in?
There is no kiosk anymore. We found that was prohibitively expensive. We found that being in a marine environment, that other agencies, other communities have had nothing but problems. So we're going online, much like you see in the commuter rail lots or the city of New Bedford, and wherever you go, where you're gonna use a QR code off of the sign with your
So
cell
it's
phone.
a sign with a QR code
Yeah.
rather than a kiosk. Is the sign installed, or is it going to be installed?
Actually, I just talked to Highway Department this morning. They are in the process of putting them together. The template is all done, the QR code works, we know that. So within the next, I'm hoping 10 days, we'll be able to get those up, bag them, do a PR promotion, let people know that on X date it's going to change, and then unbag them.
So the cost of, there is a cost of producing the sign, but it's done internally in the highway department in their existing budget.
Right, it's being done, yes.
But you're pointing out, Rick, that the contract says
Contract says-
kiosk, right?
Contact says we have to have a kiosk in place by January 1st.
Yeah, so that was something that, when the state knew of our intention to move to digital, they added that in there to the agreement. We set it as 2027, because originally, I think, earlier conversations was going to be a kiosk, which would have had to been ordered. So we put it several months out, with the full expectation it would be installed long before that. So with it being a sign with a QR code, there really shouldn't be any issues fulfilling that.
Yeah, it just says automated
the
payment
agreement.
system, so I think a sign with a QR code does fulfill that requirement.
Yes, it does.
My other question is, so the $5 fee plus a $2 surcharge, and then we are on the hook of paying them 25% of all gross, and on the hook for all upkeep, maintenance, and improvements.
Which has always been the case.
So we're currently on the hook for all upgrades, maintenance, and improvements?
Yes, that hasn't changed, Rick. That's always been the case that's always been the agreement between the state and the town.
I will note just with the surcharge, that is something that when the time comes as we get closer, we would put a hearing on that to implement that, that fee increase so that we can be compliant with what's here in the agreement, that surcharge.
I think the only hiccup I got is like, I don't think financially we're gonna come out ahead on this deal, but I think it's a nice benefit for the members of the town. The problem I see is like, once everybody finds out it's $25 fine to park there, like when Cherry and Webb parking lot gets full, you just park there and walk to Cherry and Webb or shuttle over, and then just pay the $25 fine, which is cheaper than a beach pass.
Yeah.
Or if you live in Fall River or New Bedford, you're just gonna park there, so you don't have to park at Horse Neck, like it's gonna,
Welcome to the select board
I
park.
think they need to raise the fine, Make it like a $250 fine.
Wait,
And I-
raising the fine and the parking violation fine, yes.
And Madam Chair, just a question. So currently, it's only $5 to park there for a day?
Correct, and when we initiate the program, it's gonna go to 10. When we initiate the QR codes, which will be
Before the season.
before Memorial Day.
But it's still a $10. Now, you're saying it's a QR code. Now, I know a lot of guys who, especially in my professional industry, that are older gentlemen that probably don't have a phone to use a QR code. And I'll use myself as example. That's a 13-year-old BlackBerry that I cannot take a picture of a QR code. So when somebody gets down there with their boat who may not be a Westport resident and aware of that and wants to spend, goes down there at 6 a.m. to get an early spot and it's a QR code, are there any other options for him besides just, actually, he may just park and say, give me the $25, who cares? But
No, to answer your question, to be perfectly blunt, no, there are no other options because this is 2026. But what we do have, and we exercise judiciously, is discretion. So the few numbers that are out there that don't have phones and own boats, and don't have credit cards and own boats, if they get a ticket, we're more than happy to work with them on the abatement of that ticket. And those numbers are so few, they're minimal. And we know where you live too, Jake, so we can straighten you out and get tagged. But
I have
no,
access to
realistically, we're aware of that and we're prepared for that. And we've talked with Chief Dunn about that. And it will happen. So, stuff happens and we'll get it cleared up.
I just have one last question, Madam Chair.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Well, Paula seems like she has interesting content for us.
Do you have, my last comment was, in the past, everyone tried to push for if it's a vehicle with a trailer, that's all that, you can't make that as a requirement to park there because, of course, you can launch kayaks and if you have a roof rack or anything like that. But if you see 30 passenger vehicles in there, none of them with roof racks, they could be guests of boaters too. So how are you going to address that situation when you may think they're a guest of a boater when they're also just walking down the end of Bridge Street and going to Horse Neck on unguarded waters and creating an issue for both Horse Neck and Bakers?
It's a great question. That's an enforcement issue and that's a discretion issue on the side of police officers. But we have adequate signage down there that are perfectly clear, so that if there's a vehicle in there that doesn't have trailer, and it does say trailers only, doesn't have a roof rack for kayak.
It does say trailers only?
It does
It
say
will have-
trailers only,
okay.
yeah. Then they'll probably get a ticket. And if that becomes something that should be abated or should be looked at or appealed, then so be it. It is what it is. But that doesn't happen that often. And we're going with the masses, we're going with the numbers. And really, in any parking scenario, you have to go with the masses, and you have to go what's gonna benefit the numbers and the larger number of the population. So, is it foolproof? Absolutely not, but it's the best system we can come up with right now.
I would be 100% behind the plan if it was a $200 or $250 ticket. That's where I'm having my issue in the enforcement.
I'm actually in total agreement
I-
here.
That's not on the agenda.
I know.
I understand.
Well, so,
And I don't think I can speak for the director, I don't. think we-
And I spoke to
It's-
Chris on this. I don't know what are the mechanisms to do that.
so my understanding is similar to the Fita Park there, any enforcement fines would be under the discretion of the board, select board.
Right.
Now, so that's something I can obviously confirm with the chief, and obviously I know from an enforcement standpoint, I would want to make sure that he's aware and in concurrence with that,
Let's-
but if
Let's
that,
put that on the May 11 agenda. Can you
Well-
find out the process for
Yep.
increasing the?
Absolutely.
fees? And I think that would be, the town meeting warrant has an increase in the landing fees, right? So
Correct.
this is not a land, this is a different
Yeah.
landing. It's not the same.
so depending on
So-
who oversees, some of
Yeah.
the fees are set through town meeting, some are policies set at the board level.
Right, so can you, for that May 11, then be prepared to talk about the process for changing the fines for this particular area? And then remind us in that meeting what the fines are for the landing overnight, the parking at the landing, and then the parking at the beach, violations of the parking at the beach.
I would also like to see a comparative analysis of some of the other communities,
Yeah.
what the fines are and charges are. Because that would make it would be based on some sort of comparative research.
I can tell you this, Mr. Dutra, everything that Westport charges is less than everything.
I know that. So that, I was thinking that was gonna make a case for it as opposed to,
Because Rick, the other problem that we always have is that out-of-state parking at Horse Neck is
40.
more expensive than the
Ticket.
fee, the ticket. So that's,
I know, I get a beach pass for my family to go park at the town beach, and I can never park there because it's totally full of out-of-towners.
yes. Yeah.
And, Madam Chair, this might be off topic, we're just real quick. Does Cherry and Webb fall under a town landing where what we're doing at annual meeting will be enforcement on that, or no?
No.
So that Cherry and Webb parking is still $25 as well?
It's 50. I think
It-
we raised
50?
Yeah.
it recently.
50, okay,
Yeah, I believe so.
The parking lot at Gooseberry is the landing.
yeah.
Or not, the one on Gooseberry is DCR.
Correct.
The one on this side of the causeway, the one on this side of the Gooseberry Causeway, that's a landing.
I mean, I think that's something everyone in town can get behind because they live in Westport for a reason. And if you made that a $200 ticket at Cherry and Webb and this landing, I think every resident, because they have the opportunity, the residents, to come in here and appeal it and talk to either Carla or Paula. But, you know, they see the abuses, and just like Rick said, when they go down there and don't have a parking spot and,
Yeah.
you know.
So, Paula, you had,
There is, in past practice, they've tried to, they've looked into raising the parking ticket for Cherry and Webb, and it's regulated somehow. We would have to look into it more. It's regulated. We were told that by the previous chief. As far as the tickets down at the boat ramp, it's not few and far between. It was many last year that I wear the hat of the parking clerk now, were waived because of the 4 AM. Like the 4 AM fishermen that are going out there, or they're calling me and they're coming in to our office soaking wet because they've just come off the boat and we didn't know about this and we can't do this. And a lot of tickets avoided last year, a lot. So I still think there has to be some sort of manual way to do it also. I don't know. I mean, it's not my purview, but it's not as little as you think. It was a lot. And
To Paula's point, last year was a transition. A lot of people didn't even know about the annual pass down there. And being the transition year, I can only imagine. Going forward, we're doing a better job. I think I know we're doing a better job with signage, with notification, with sharing with the public on our websites of what's really happening. Hopefully, that's gonna reduce those numbers for you. Last year it was tough. I mean, it was tough.
is the sign going to be lighted? Like, will there be a light on top of the sign so that the 4 AM fishermen can see that when they pull in?
Unless it's divine intervention, no. No, there won't be, what we're going to do is.
You can put like a solar light on it or
Around-
something.
Around, even though the lot is lighted, we're gonna 4 or 5 spots around the ramp area and then as well in the overflow, which is the spotlights there as well.
All right, so we're gonna address the fines at the May 11th, we're gonna at least find out the process on the May 11th
Yep.
meeting. And what's before us right now is the approval of the memorandum of agreement between DCR and the town of Westport. So are there any other comments on that?
Just one note for the 11th. Did you want me to come to the meeting with the comparables done and have us post as a hearing so the board can make a decision on the 11th? Or did you want to deliberate?
I know they have a town meeting coming up, so if you can, I would say yes, we would
Okay.
like to do that, because you'd want to implement, if we're gonna change it, we'd want to do that before the season hits.
Yep.
But also, I'm respectful of the idea that town meeting is a lot of work, and next
Well-
week is gonna be pretty busy.
We'll do the best we can.
Do what you can. All right, anything else? What's the pleasure of the board on this?
And Madam Chair, before we
Yeah.
vote, I'm going to recuse myself,
Okay,
obviously as a neighboring business owner.
okay.
I address my concerns, but I'm just not going to vote.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that's 4 in favor and 1 abstain.
Can I add one other
You may.
comment, Madam Chair? Jake, your concerns are well noted. I think all the discussions that Rick and I have had about this whole transition always come back to Bridge Road and Baker's Beach and you in general, because you brought this up right when we started back in July. So we're always very cognizant of that fact. And I would add one more thing. Some of these youngsters that I mentioned for approval will be there looking as well.
I appreciate, sorry, Madam
Go
Chair.
ahead.
I appreciate that, and I think my concern is, I know some of our members abuse that. They're also the ones that want to have the whole family at the beach and can't fit, turn their Yukon into a clown car of 13 people, so they park down at the boat ramp and they walk down and meet their family. So I think, some of the members at our property are probably offenders as well, so.
So I don't have a vote, but I do follow you on social media, and I understand that waterways fees are due. You want to talk about that while you're here?
Yeah, they are due. We've had, I think we've taken in to date, we're approaching $90,000 in waterways use fees. This is slip fees and mooring fees combined. Last year, we took in about $143,000. We have a new fee structure that all of you approved back in October, if memory serves. Part of that included a $100 non-resident fee. As of last Wednesday, we had taken in $11,900 from non-residents to add to the kitty. So we do have a late fee for all of those who decide to procrastinate, because Rick and I were processing these paper applications up until December of last year, and it's like, come on, man, I mean, at some point, you gotta say, this is the cutoff date. After that, there's a consequence to it, because we can't be processing this stuff all year long. So we started it off, the introductory letter that was sent out to everyone has May 1st as the cutoff date. So if you're later than May 1st, you're gonna get dinged for $100. However, Al Lee's advice, Al is the liaison to this department from FinCom, he said that might be just a little too aggressive. So you might want to put that off a month, especially for the first year. This is a transition year to all of this. But I would say this much, it's going pretty well, Madam Chair. A little over 40%, and it's still the 27th of April. So I think we are well ahead of the curve. But I think the proof is in the pudding. Are we going to have X percentage of procrastinators again, or will they get the message?
Okay, but if you're watching and you haven't paid your waterways fee, they're due this week.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Oh, you
thank
want to do safe voting?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay, go ahead.
This is a big
If I
deal.
can, aside from all the collection of money and whatnot, there's one thing that is consistent within the marine services, and that's safety, boater safety. The new people that are gonna be helping us out this summer, they're devoted to that. We've made that perfectly clear that that's part of their mission. and that's our operational procedure. May 16th to the 26th of this year, which is the week leading into Memorial Day weekend, is National Safe Boating Week. And with that comes, as all of these programs do, comes with a number of PSAs, a number of daily updates, wear your life jacket, how to wear your life jacket, where to buy your life jacket, alcohol and boating, enforcement, safe boating, all that stuff. So what we are planning on doing is moving forward with the safe boating campaign on social media as well as through the town. Part of that, and I would hope that I could get your agreement on that, is that we put out a proclamation that, you put out a proclamation that 16th to the 22nd of May is in fact Safe Boating Week. And I will provide all the documentation that you'll need and the toolkit that would be needed by the town.
Okay,
In
so we'll
addition
put-
to what we're gonna do.
So we'll put that on the May 11 agenda then.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they just changed the law this year for operating a boat. You have to get a license this year?
Yes, well, you're not wrong. It has changed, and there's two stages to it. Massachusetts is one of the few, if not the last, one of the last, that requires a boating certificate, which basically is a credit card. If you were born before 1989, you are exempted until 2028. If you were born after 1989, you have, according to the statute, you have to have your boating certificate by April 1 of this year. The director and I have been holding classes in town for people. Right now, we really can't do it because we're going into the summer, we'll continue in the fall. So I have a feeling that most people here may apply, may be in the 2028 group. I'm going to take a guess at that, but nonetheless, our thing will be that when we're on the water, on the river and out front, within the confines of the waterways of the town, we're going to be stopping people and just advising them of what's going on and how it is, and to tell them that we're going to be having courses. We think the courses are good, we know the courses are good. A lot of it has to do with jet skis, and a lot of it is awareness. So, is there a fine for it? Yes, it's under Mass General Laws, under Chapter 130, I think it is, but that's going to change as well. Before 2028, it's going to change. It's already changed many times, so I have a feeling that you don't have to worry until 2028. So,
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I know I didn't realize when I took this out of order how long the conversation's going to be, so I appreciate the indulgence for everybody else.
Oh, you should know us, Mike.
That I should have known,
Yeah.
but thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you.
So now we're back up to 4E. We have a request from the Senior Services Director, Beverly Bish, to appoint Joel Valentine to the part-time position in the Transportation Department as a van driver. Welcome, Beverly,
Hi.
and you must be
Good
Joel.
evening, everybody. Joel Valentine. Joel has been completing some of his trainings already. He's already CPR trained, defensive driving trained. He came to us when I posted the ad. He has worked in Connecticut in an assisted living driving. So he comes with some very good credentials. And I'll leave it to Joel. Just if anybody has any questions.
Can you just remind us how the position's funded?
It's funded through, part of it is with the town. The drivers get paid a certain amount, and the town picks up a percentage of it. And transportation revolving, formula grant, gifts and donations, many other ways that we pay for it.
And then you mentioned in your letter that we were recently awarded another grant, a $30,000 grant to support transportation.
We were, Department of Transportation, the CERTA agency, which is the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority, up until this year did not give operational funds. It only gave funds for grant funds for vans. We're getting a new van in June of this year, which I got last year. I was awarded the grant. So I did apply, I applied for $75,000 because it's for a year and a half. and I only got 30,000 out of that, but that's because DOT received $14,400,000 worth of applications for grants, and they had $5 million to spend. So that just tells you how much is out there for transportation, how much need is out there for transportation. So I did get that grant, which is good. And just a little information, last year's expense for the full transportation program, for all the expenses, all of the drivers, my transportation clerk, the oil, the gas, the repairs, was $125,000. And last year, we took in, I want to say, $123,000, so we're only a few $1,000s short, which is good, because there's been years where we've been $20,000 short, or $6,000 or $8,000. Excuse me. So I did have a grant last year from Bristol Older Services for $19,500, along with some other things. We have increased fees a little bit since January. So my AREW grant is paying a little bit more for transportation. We increased the fees from $5 one way to $7.50 one way. It's not a big increase, but it's enough to fill some more, put some more money in the transportation revolving account. So, but Joel came to us, he saw the ad, he applied, he came in. He's got great credentials, I got good references. Obviously Corey passed and everything else. He's got a good driving record. And I have to tell you, this is a perfect week for him to start because.
I have a couple classes to look over, yeah.
Because I had one driver go out with a cardiac issues, a quadruple bypass. So he's out for 3 months. My second driver on Saturday decided to climb a ladder and he fell, one of my drivers. And-
No climbing ladders, Joel.
No. And broken pelvis and 3 fractured ribs. So we're so short-staffed right now. I'll probably be driving this week, so just so people know, I've done all the trainings before, but we're, welcome Joel, a great find, and I think he's gonna do very well with us. And I appreciate the fact that he's already started the training, so he's already CPR. Like I said, he's doing another training Wednesday and Friday this week.
Right.
So the only thing we need is the wheelchair securement, and I'm seeing if I can't get it in. But I have one of my drivers who's a trainer, and I'm gonna have her train him.
Chris, do you have a recommendation?
Recommend appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
Aye, that's unanimous. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Beverly, that was all you, I know we have the job posting on here, but that's not,
That's not really.
okay, that was it. Okay. Thank you, Beth.
But I'm gonna stay and listen.
Okay. This one, so F just reminded me that we didn't, so the posting for F is the Serpide Commission's appointment form for a select board representative. But in the reorganization of the board, I forgot that we need to look at the committee appointments again. So can we put that on for next week? So whatever Mr. Soares was on. And can you just prepare a list for like all of our appointments of who's the select board representative to the various committees? And if we want to switch up any committees, we can do that at the next meeting.
Absolutely, you can do that.
I totally forgot about that. Okay, so this one is the Serpide Commission appointment form for the select board representative. Are you, Dick, are you our current?
No,
Manny was the.
Manny was the Serpide
Yes.
representative. Okay, so does anybody want to be the Serpide representative?
Everyone didn't know.
Madam Chair, if nobody else is interested, I will gladly serve.
We appreciate that, Mr. Brewer.
Now that I'm going to have spare time.
All right, so do I hear a motion to appoint Dick Brewer?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you, Dick.
My pleasure.
Then we have it says Serpide, but it's Serped, Joint Transportation Planning Group appointment form for 2026 and 2027. So our Joint Transportation Planning Group, we have Michael Burris, who I believe is currently.
So Michael is currently the alternate, and this was one of the assignments that I was charged with when I first came on. I know the board, as part of my initial discussion with the appointment, said take a look at what I'm involved in and see if someone else better served may be on any of these boards and committees. So Michael sits as the alternate, and because this is a transportation group, and our highway department is very involved. Austin has stepped up to take that alternate role, so,
So we've moved Mike into being the representative, replacing you,
yes,
and Austin will be the new alternate.
that's correct.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We have a request from Dana Stewart. The request from the Recreation Director, Dana Stewart, to hang a banner advertising the Westport Summer Concert Series.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we have hung this banner before in past years. We did receive the Helen Ellis Grant through the Westport Cultural Council to do our Westport Summer Concert Series again this year. The concert series will start on Thursday, July 2nd, with a America 250 concert. I'm hoping to get a military band. I've submitted the application. I'm hoping to hear back. They said they let people know 2 months before the date of when it happens, so fingers crossed. If not, we'll still do a celebration with a band. It would just be a backup plan. But we are going to kind of kick it off with that, and then every Thursday through the month of July and August, we're going to have different bands that will entertain the public.
And you've been doing this for a few years now.
Yes, yes, and it's always a fun time. Lots of people come out. It's good for families, all ages, and just kind of is a nice way to bring the community together. It was actually started during COVID when we all had to socialize outside. So now it's still nice to do that in the summer months.
What military band did you try and get?
So I believe it's Newport, and I filled out the application online. Emails have been exchanged, and so they said that, yep, we'll let you know. That's all I got.
Talk to me offline, I might have some help.
Okay, thank you very much.
Inside Connections. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
You do know that we're having to, poor Carla's having to coordinate all these banner
Yes,
requests.
I do understand that, and so because it's July through August, we can do like anytime mid to end June, right at the start of July into like end of August or beginning of September,
We'll
whatever
chat
works.
about
Yeah,
that.
that's fine.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We also have a request from Dana Stewart to approve the job postings for seasonal part-time lifeguards and camp counselors.
Yes, all of our lifeguards have said they wanted to come back. We had one that then changed their mind because they had another job opportunity. So we have one spot to fill, so that's why we already have some people who've turned in resumes. We just kind of have to officially post the job. And then also with our camp counselors for the summer, I also have a lot of returning camp counselors, but again, we're gonna have to supplement here and there, so we're gonna post that as well.
Chris, do you have a recommendation?
Recommend approving the job posting.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Anything else you want to talk to us?
Yeah, I just would, earlier in the meeting, you all accepted the resignation of Cindy Wilson. I just wanted to say publicly that we thank her for her service. She was with our Recreation Commission for 3 years, and she was a big help in researching local playgrounds and different designs and things of that nature. And so now we are, installing our new playground at Bicentennial Park. Progress is going well. I think the community is getting excited about it with seeing it go up. So we're very happy that's happening. Other than that, we just finished a wonderful spring break nature camp in partnership with Westport Land Conservation Trust. It was full with a wait list, so that was nice. And then we have pickleball lessons for adults. We have tennis lessons for kids and all sorts of other programs happening and summer camps coming up, so I'm planning for that. Just visit our website, westportrec.com.
And do you have a date for the new playground?
So it's all dependent on weather with pouring in the rubberized surfacing. And also we're waiting on cement pavers to be inputted around the perimeter of it, and then the rubberized surfacing. So Right now, the estimate is possibly June. It depends on how long it takes to cure. And then fencing, we're gonna be getting new fencing, as well as the highway department is going to be helping us with creating a paved path around the perimeter of the park, as well as intersecting through the middle of the park. And we're also gonna have to move the flagpole, probably to a more prominent space, maybe toward the middle of the park. Because right now, if we did a paved path, it would be right in the way. So we're making those improvements too. That being said, I'm not yet sure, you know, when the playground will be ready versus those other things happening. So some of that will be determined.
Hopefully this summer, though.
Hopefully this summer, yes.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Bettina, what we have?
Thank you.
We have a request from Highway Surveyor Chris Gonzalez to execute a Mass DOT contract for the Sanford Road pedestrian and roadway safety improvements. Do you want to tell us about this, Chris?
Sure. So as the board recalls, the town received a grant through the Complete Streets program for $499,800. This is for the Sanford Road pedestrian and roadway safety improvement project. The project will provide new sidewalks, curbs, ramps, crosswalks, and new signage, you know, on that segment. In the packet this evening, I have the contract from Mass DOT. It requires the signature of you, Shauna, the board chair. And so the request this evening is authorization to sign that grant agreement.
And do you have a recommendation?
Recommend approval.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We have a request from the Economic Development Task Force. Yes. Thank you for your patience, Maury. So this is Vice Chair Maury May to authorize the 2026 farmers markets and to hang a promotional banner.
Yes, good evening, everybody. The Economic Development Task Force is proud to sponsor for the 11th consecutive year the farmers markets. We actually got through the year of 2020, the COVID year, with a list of requirements of, you know, like 20 from the governor, but we have an unbroken record now for 11 years. What I'd like to do is get your authorization for the farmers markets. We are pretty much sticking to last year's schedule. That'll be 20 summer markets, starting May 30th and ending October 10th. And we'll have 5 winter markets that go for 2 Saturdays before Thanksgiving, skipping Thanksgiving weekend, and then we'll have 3 in December. The one deviation from that schedule will be the fact that July 4th is a Saturday. So there's going to be a parade and Main Road's going to be blocked. So we plan to have a farmer's market the day before, on Friday the 3rd, from 2 to 5 p.m. And all this has been arranged with Dana because we do rent the bathrooms from the annex gymnasium for $50 a day. That's $1,000 for the summer markets. And we also pay $875 for the winter market. So we actually, from vendor fees, do support the Recreation Commission to the tune of $1,875 a year. The second thing is the overhead banner. I know there's going to be it's sort of like a collision course because you guys keep authorizing them. But, you know, I've worked with the Highway Department over the summers, and I guess, Carly, you are also going to be in charge of. I really request that we get our summer market banner up between about the 15th of May to the 30th, because those are the 2 weeks before our first market. And then it can be off and on during the rest of the summer. And I do want to make one recommendation. I have worked with one other banner and recommended that you do a 20-foot long banner, which is 30 inches high, and the Highway Department can hang 2 of them parallel, and they do a beautiful job if you have 2 banners of the same size. So that's one way of increasing the visibility for the events over the summer. And I recommend that, and we can talk about that as we go forward. So the Recreation Commission has arranged the facilities, and for one more year, we have a grant from the Helen Ellis Trust through the Westport Cultural Council. It's a $3,000 grant for Music at the Markets. It's a very popular program that we have, and we feel it really does help to draw in customers to the market. So I'm asking basically for 2 approvals for the markets, 25 markets, and hanging the banner again.
All right, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Do you have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Dana Stewart, Recreation Department. I just had a question about, do the vendor, because the vendors often call my department, is there a fee that you all charge the vendors to have a table out there?
Is there a fee for vendors?
The people selling their goods at the
Yes,
farmer's
yes.
market?
It's $25 a market, but if you sign up for 10 markets, there's a break point, it goes down a little bit. If you sign up for, say, all 20 markets in the summer, there's even another break point.
And then who is the main contact if new vendors try and contact me? Who should I direct them
It's,
to?
Ben and Hannah Walback.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing. All
And
right.
the key there is to try to get Hannah in the morning, because she seems to be doing a lot of the paperwork, and she's very accessible in the mornings.
Okay. And is there a way that you advertise, your need for vendors, or how does that work?
We, when I was doing them, when I was the market manager, I really went out and recruited vendors. But they are, in the business of they are farmers, and they're in contact with farmers and with vendors. And with musicians, for that matter.
Yeah, just asking again, because sometimes they'll call my department, so
No.
I would just maybe recommend or suggest, just a simple advertisement of how to.
You should call Ben and Hannah.
Okay, I'll chat with them. All right, thank you.
Okey-doke.
All right, I think we did vote, but let's vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary.
Congratulations, Rick.
Thank you.
We have a request from the Shallop Planning Committee to approve a commemoration Revolution 250 event at the Backachuck Inn on August 15 and 16 from 11 to 3.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us back, and congratulations, Rick.
Thank you.
And I also have great news to tell you. We're going to rescind our request for a banner.
I thought the more banners, the better. I'm all about a banner.
We thought we would just, make life a little easier. Now, we actually decided, and there was a lot of advice from different people, that the banner across Main Road only gives visibility that are driving on Main Road, and this is a much bigger event. So we're going to ask if we could perhaps use the corners on 88 and the Main Road intersections where they would get much more visibility throughout town.
The intersections on 88 are not under the jurisdiction of the
Okay.
town, so.
We'll find.
As you might have seen in the previous campaign season, that didn't seem to stop people from putting signs there.
I understand, but I wouldn't do
Can't
that,
authorize
but
it.
Main Road intersections would be okay?
The,
Like, at the top of Hicks Bridge, where there are quite a few at Handy Hill on the corner, and,
on the Westport roadways.
Yes.
yeah, correct, okay.
Can I say something? So I wanted to say that I'm the co-chair of the committee, and it's a very large committee, and it has people from Dartmouth, Nantucket, Cuttyhunk, and Westport. So we've assigned captains for each town, and Gay is the captain. So Gay is going to be handling all of this. Just wanted you to know that.
Oh, thanks.
She told me that you were transitioning.
Transitioning.
So you all were here before and talked about
Correct.
the event, and we had some questions about, we were trying to understand the layout of where things were. So
Correct.
You
I-
provided us a nice little map.
And I have just had it revised because I spent Saturday morning with Lieutenant Mello going over what his recommendations are, which are now before you. I also wanted to say in your packet, the names of all the people that are involved in the committee, I think we sent to you in your packet from Dartmouth, Cuttyhunk, Nantucket, just so you have that. So to walk through the map, as you come up 88 and you want to go up Hotel Hill, he is recommending that the police put their electronic messaging sign saying parking straight ahead directly across from the lower Drift Road as you're going up Hotel Hill. And then going straight up to the top of the hill, we would have a parking sign with an arrow going to the right, because 1839 is the large parking field that he has approved. He said there's plenty of space there for people. We would have another parking sign on the other side of that, directing people into the parking lot coming south on Main Road. The police officer he's recommending should be stationed down by the church and the beginning of Lower Drift Road, so that if people are coming up and around, he can direct them in either direction back around at the parking lot. And he also suggested another yard sign on that lawn right across from the church, which would not be a problem getting permission. In the event that it's slow and the police officer wants to walk down Main Road, the parking is slowed down, people would still be directed to the right at that point. The shuttle bus that we have both days with Grace, we're grateful to Bev and the COA, are.
She might be driving it.
She'll be doing it. She might very well be. Your Saturday, right? So they'll be picking people up at 1839, driving down around the loop at the end of the street, and depositing people at the driveway at the inn, so that they get off the bus, they're going directly into the Packwichuk property. So that is our layout, and as far as the rest of where the boats are being located, Bill Chase is working very closely with Whit Perry, who's coming from the Mayflower, with the Shallop. They're going to be doing an on-site soon to discuss the best location for the boat, with safety in mind as well.
I think you've heard from Bill Chase. Did he, yes, and also, okay,
Yeah, he sent a recommendation that he says he's been working closely with you all.
very closely.
Yeah. Okay.
One other thing, volunteer parking I have at the very bottom. I'm in the works with the abutter of that, who owns all those garages and the large parking area there. We will be meeting, and I'm hoping she will approve us putting volunteer parking there and possibly overflow handicap.
Is there going to be follow-on requests for food vendors and alcohol licenses or anything like that?
No.
No, that's a good question, though. No, we've decided we're not going to do food. The oyster bars right there, they provide food. We are going to be working with the Point Church, who's doing a fundraiser to restore Howland Hall, and they are offering to come down and bring cookies and lemonade or an iced tea, that sort of thing. That's it, and they'll provide their own permit. The liquor license at the inn is going to, if anybody has a drink, but not on our watch necessarily, it would be their choice that she has a liquor license and liquor liability.
Can I just see the potential for tourists this summer coming to that and expecting it to be a much more massive event? Because there's a potential for it to be something very large.
Yeah, I think people think the Shallop itself is not like a tall.
I know, it's a
ship,
small
right?
little boat, but
And of course, obviously, they're hoping for a lot of people to come down.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
gonna be a
I
lot of
think
people.
people might think it's going to be like a lot of activities and stuff, but it's not. There's
And
no-
it's over 2 days,
Yeah.
yeah.
so 8 hours.
Yeah, it's 11 to 3 each day. It's not like a huge.
I just imagine tourists coming to a quaint little cute New England town and going down to Westport Point with this cute little fishing village and having the Shallop coming, and they're probably going to be like mob with tourists, is my expectation.
There's always a mob there.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm just saying that
Always a mob.
there's opportunities
I
there.
do want to point out, in the police department recommendation that you didn't say, so there was some discussion about closing the road to traffic, and the police did not recommend that.
No,
The
no.
police, it's a public roadway, and so the road's going to stay open. We're just going to make sure, try to,
The
between
visitors
the
to the
volunteers and the
Shallop.
police, we're going to try to encourage the visitors to be parking up at that other lot, so.
Correct.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Just one.
Yep.
I appreciate you getting this map. I know I asked for it before, just a little bit more detail. So I appreciate this because I think the biggest concern that a few people brought up to me is obviously parking and traffic at the point. But I think having that detailed police officer directing or, turning people around or sending them back the other way, because if you have them on Lower Drift, you just send them back around almost in a circle. So, because a few of the commercial fishermen had concerns about their parking. So I appreciate you getting this and having it detailed. I think that'll probably make it very smooth.
I also will add that when I talked to Lieutenant Mello, I asked him about a second detail down at the point itself. And he said that really, he was fine with the one when we know where the boats are going to be located, because we've got the Shallop, which is only, was it 26 feet? And then we've got
33 feet.
33 feet. And then we've got the sardine carrier, which is absolutely stunningly beautiful.
70 feet.
70 feet. And if we can get them both down there, they're both going to probably have to be on one of the larger docks. So that may require an additional police duty, but we'll be prepared for that. In the meanwhile, we are going to have lots of volunteers.
The neighborhood association has volunteered.
Yeah.
Quite a few people are
And
asking
they'll be in
us.
bright yellow shirts, so they'll be very
You
visible.
can park them at the boat ramp and just shuttle them over.
The shuttle won't be going over the bridge.
The shallop will be coming in the day before, in the afternoon. We hope to have a flotilla. I guess Bill's talked about that.
He's going to have
He's going to, two boats there to help bring it in. And weather is very important.
It's good weather for you.
It always is.
We have to deal with the tides, so they're planning on coming in at the right tides, and where they park depends upon whether there's water at the particular place. So we before thought we would do it at the Paquachuk, but it would have been on the bottom, so they're not going to probably do it the whole time there for sure.
So Chris, what's the appropriate motion? Are we approving the event subject to police recommendation, or?
So, I think just based on the conversation, they have gone through and coordinated, with our various departments accordingly. The majority event is taking place on private property. I would recommend approval just in the sense that they did also ask a signage request on town property, so I think we can encompass that in this vote here, if the board chooses, so, recommendation for approval.
I just want to make sure we get the motion, like whatever we need to
We,
remove.
we are in contact with the Landing Commission, so we would be seeing them,
Yeah.
but it's not on the landing, but anyway.
Maybe our best bet is to word the motion to approve the plan as submitted with the understanding that any modifications to the plan that may occur between now and August will be communicated back to the board by our liaison, Gay, as well as by the police. So if we start seeing some logistical problems or anything else as we go along, or we would be able to make an adjustment, including, they may take a look at what the boats and the sardine ship at 70 feet, and then suddenly say, geez, we might have to make an adjustment here. So I think that would do that.
Second, was that the motion?
Yes, I moved.
Got that, Carla?
Did you get that, Carl?
I don't care. Make it look good, and that's fine.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I just wanted another plug for, I said at the beginning, but you weren't here, the Abner Brownell.
Oh,
I don't know if any of you guys have anything.
The Paul Revere ride?
The Abner Brownell ride on April 30th.
Yes.
Do we know what will happen if it rains?
I have no idea.
You have to talk with Irene Buck about that.
Okay, so
Okay.
Thursday, April 30th.
But I'm sure that it was cold when he ran, when she ran. Now it's a she who's going to be a he, but
Okay,
if it rains, it should be all right.
all right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Because the weather will be worse than it was today.
Well, today was beautiful. We have a request to approve the Director of Senior Services job description and authorize the posting. So on our last meeting, we had because there's two copies of this in our packet. So the last meeting on 4/7, we had a job description, and then we tasked you with going to the Personnel Board and the Council on Aging. I think they made some minor amendments.
Yes.
And then did the Personnel Board classify it?
They did. So in your packet, you have two. So you have the one that the board reviewed back at the last meeting, as well as the updated one with today's date. After review, the Personnel Board did reclassify it as a grade 10 based on the updated job description and our class and comp scoring. So as you mentioned, when we sent out the job description for additional feedback, there were a couple of changes. So we did clarify the language about the Council on Aging department versus the public body, and that was based on the discussion here. We combined a couple of the bullet points for simplicity because they did overlap, or at least appeared that they overlapped. We also updated the terminology to older adults in the areas that were applicable. That was just based on input. And we updated the name of the state agency, as I understand it went through a recent name change. And so, with that, with the board's approval, I recommend approval of the updated job description and authorizing its posting.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may address these to Chris, I think I have the right version here. There are a couple of things here that are new and a little bit, in my view, not in conformity to the statute
Okay.
in the common understanding, but I don't think these are big items. I think at some point you say, this is done, and we get, this, as we say, get the show on the road. So I don't want to make more work and delay it, but just for clarification.
Sure.
And it goes to what you just said, the Council on Aging Department. Now, that's new. I don't know if we've ever used that before. We have the Council on Aging, as we talked about before, took out the words advisory board, because that's not the title of it, although that is what they do.
Yeah.
And then we have the senior center, the physical plant, so to speak. And of course, we have what this is all about, the director of senior services and those responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't find this objectionable, but is there a reason to now rename it, in effect, the Council on Aging Department? Is that to be in lieu of the senior center verbiage? Because the senior center is mentioned down here.
So, when I was going through the description and, working off the feedback that was provided at the last meeting, as I would say a layman reading the job description, it was very hard to distinguish between the operation and the board itself, the Council on Aging Board.
Yep.
And so,
That's right.
the senior center is the physical location, but the department is the operation. So it's, I would say under the department is managing the actual facility itself, but you're also managing the budget, you're also managing the staff. So, at least, as I thought about it and just the best way to describe it for people who are applying and trying to understand the position, that was where I landed. I obviously open to if there's any other suggestions, but that's kind of why, from a simplicity point, when you read through it, it's also kind of why I just referred it to department, in terms of departmental operation, and council to clarify, the Council on Aging as, the public body.
I tend to agree. Sometimes it can be confusing when you're describing it to others.
Yeah.
I think that actually improves the delineation of the Council on Aging as an advisory body, as opposed to the Department of the Department of the Council on Aging, which is under the direction of the director.
Yeah, in our budget, it's the Council on Aging it's under a departmental item, so that's.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's
For
called.
budget purposes, it is a
Yeah.
department.
It's a department.
Yeah.
Well, then, okay, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I get the logic of it, but now you have reference to the senior center here in a couple of places.
That's correct, so the actual facility itself.
But you're calling it something different in the general summary.
No, it's kind of like having the harbor master and then the harbor master shed, right? They're different. The harbor master department is not just the building. So the senior center is referring to the physical building.
We may want to actually think about changing the name of the department. I mean, because if you look at other agencies, they're not, I know the Council on Aging is the nomenclature. So when you go into other towns, they are called the Council on Aging. But Beverly?
If you want, Beverly Bish, Director of the Council on Aging, if you want to clarify the senior center, it is called the Hazel Trip Senior Center, So if you want to, because she's the one who,
There's a name.
so again, so if you want to, Eileen brought it to my attention, just to make it clearer that that is the building itself, the Hazel Tripp Senior Center.
Thank you.
Yep.
If I can respond to that, there's an item on the second page that says manages the senior center facility, including operations, maintenance, and identification. So I think that works. And I don't think there's value added by naming it the Hazel Senior Center. It is, but for the purposes of a job description, I don't think it's necessary. So those are just things I point out. I don't really have, well, I find also interesting, but this is probably not worth discussing, a bullet that says that this person in this position serves as the liaison to the Council on Aging. I just found that interesting. Liaison is not defined.
You know, that's another, you could say the clerk, you know, we could reword that. You know, I think the intent behind that is that this is the primary point person between the operational side and the board. But certainly open to any recommended changes here.
Yeah, well, what you have going on here in this bullet is, this is where the senior center manager, director of senior services, is working with the Council on Aging, which is advisory. So responsibilities there to keep the Council on Aging informed, up to date, and all that. It's the kind of things that you do at your meetings. I just found the word liaison to be, I think the function here is important, very important, in fact, critical. So liaison is kind of like what I do for the selectmen. And this, you know, it's not really a robust job function. It's something you do as a convenience for the selectmen, I guess. We've discussed this before as to what my functions really are, but the liaison implies, you know, sort of a go-between agent, something. But it's bigger than that. This is a key function of the director, to make sure that the council can function as an advisory board and have the necessary information.
Did you have a suggestion for how to reword that? Because it currently says serves as liaison to the Council on Aging. So do you have a word you'd like to substitute?
Like primary point of contact.
The primary point of
Yeah,
contact? Is that better?
it's a contact,
Or
yeah.
staff too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of a word, I was just.
So clerk is a,
I think if you say clerk to the Council on Aging, I don't like clerk as much as contact.
no, that's fair.
If you use the word staff to the Council on Aging, it presupposes that they are responsible for supporting the work of the Council on Aging in their capacity as an advisory body.
Staff,
Department.
staff representative?
Well, maybe just say serves the council, what did you just say? Because maybe just say serves the Council on Aging, prepares meeting materials, provides regular program updates. Because you're, I don't know,
Agent?
serves as the town's agent to the Council on Aging. Is that better?
It is. It's a key communication role. I'm trying to capture that and not make it too wordy. That the council needs the head of the senior center to be communicating on a constant basis, providing information, providing advice, making recommendations. So it's all that. So it's a word that best captures
So perhaps.
all that activity.
If I may, maybe serves as the town's agent and primary point of contact?
Yeah, it's a contact function, primary point of contact.
Town's agent and
Probably
primary
does
point
good.
of contact. I like that.
Sure.
That'll work.
Are there any other changes that you felt strongly about
No.
before we?
No, those are the ones.
Okay, so are you moving approval subject to that?
No, I would move approval to subject to that change.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.
Thank
All right. You got that. We just approved it.
Sorry to
They've been
create
here a
more
few times.
agony.
They've been here a few times.
So we will make that update and we will get that out the door.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, So we already talked about G. Yes.
Did you also say that you would advertise it? You approve the changes and
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that it gets authorized.
Yeah, authorize, yeah, to approve the changes and authorize the posting. That was part of the motion. Yes, we were good. Okay. So now we're on 5H, a request to approve the First Amendment to host community agreement between the town of Westport and Coastal Healing. So Chris, you want to tell us about this?
Certainly. So, my understanding is early last year, the town entered into an updated host community agreement with Coastal Healing as a result of recent changes in state law when it comes to what can and can't be in a host community agreement. So, since that time it was signed, it was sent up to the state, and the Cannabis Control Commission, the CCC, reviews all the host community agreements and confirms whether or not they are compliant with the updated state law or not. So the town and Coastal Healing did receive notice that it was their determination that the HCA was non-compliant. A couple of the changes that were needed to be made was the license date didn't match the CCC records. So my understanding is that was an error by the applicant at the time they entered the agreement with the town. They just gave us the wrong dates. There were a couple of other provisions, one with regards to fees and the other with regards to indemnification that the state flagged. In talking with council, they said that they would reach out to the state because we just need to provide them notice that we're not treating their business any differently than any others that we license with in the same nature. So council did provide a amendment, which is in your packet, that would need your approval. So if the board approved it, we would send it back to Coastal Healing, get it submitted to the state, and hopefully get a satisfactory response from the CCC.
Okay, so over time, so when the original agreement was in 2022, the Cannabis Control Commission law, the laws surrounding cannabis changed in the interim. We had to make updates to comply with the law. And so what you're saying is that these changes were, so when we submitted those changes to the state, then they flagged these particular issues, so the dates specifically.
Correct.
Was there anything in here that's significantly different? That it was, the dates was, I mean, that's,
No, so it was the three things. It was the date correction, which would be amended. And I believe in the agreement, that is the only substantive change in the amendment.
Yeah.
On the notice they sent us, they also made note that the indemnification clause and the late payment charge, they flagged that as non-compliant, but when we talked to council, they said that they'll reach out to the state so that we don't have to take any action on that.
okay, so really the only substantive thing on this particular amendment is the date, correcting the dates.
That is correct.
And it's basically changing them for the public. It's changing them from February 2022 to October of 2022, and then March of 2022 to October of 22, and then November of 21 to August of 2022. So these are all passed. Okay, any other questions?
I move the recommendation, we got an amendment to the, approving the amendment to the agreement.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.
Opposed.
Oh, sorry, 4 in favor, 1 opposed. We have a request from the U.S. Board on Geographic Names to review a proposal for Stevie's Brook in Bristol County, Massachusetts. This one was the interesting one. I think this might be the first that I've seen.
My first as well.
You want to
yes.
explain this to us?
Well, when I first got the phone call, I said, is this legit? But yes, so we received correspondence from the U.S. Board on Geographic Names. This is a federal agency that is tasked when requests like this come in, that they go through this established process. So the proposal that was submitted to them and forwarded to us was to name an unnamed 2.6 mile stream called Stevie's Brook. You can see it on the map up on the screen. This is located within Dartmouth as well as Westport. The town was asked to submit recommendations in the form of, do we approve, reject, no opinion, no objection. Based on the information submitted, honors Steve Rebello, lifelong resident of Westport. It was submitted by Donna Rebello. Based on the information they submitted, they said it did meet their criteria. They are asking for the town to provide its input by May 26th. So this is something I want to bring forward to the board tonight to see how you want to handle it. We do have the opportunity to, refer to other boards as the board sees fit for recommendations. If the board wanted to maybe take a position on it and put something together for submission by their deadline. But that's the request.
Is there anyone here to speak about that?
I read into this a little bit after talking to you, because I think it's like a little great initiative from his widow. And really, as long as we don't object to it, it moves forward. So this is our position, our chance to object to it, and I think it's great, I'm all for it.
Yeah, so I think, because so our options are we can recommend, we can not recommend, or we can take no action, right? Is that?
Yeah, so, no objections, we can approve, we can say, hey, there's an issue here. The other thing the board can do is, for example, if you wanted to refer to, the Historical Commission or, another board that might have additional history or context behind the stream, you can do that, or you could just make a recommendation and send it off. It's at the board's discretion.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Just a quick question on this. So that is completely unnamed, like Westport River Watershed doesn't recognize it, Buzzards Bay doesn't recognize that as anything?
Unnamed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just federally, it's unnamed brook federally.
Yeah.
I have no issues.
Do we want to approve it or we want to take no action?
I think it's the first person to plant a flag, they got it.
Are you moving that, Mr. Mundy?
What?
Are you moving that we?
Yes, I move that we approve it.
Here we go.
A second.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Those of you who are still in the audience, I know we're gonna talk to Sue, I'm gonna bump on the town meeting warrant. Is there anybody that has a topic that is not the warrant that you're here for? Okay. All right, so, thank you for your patience. Our meetings haven't been going this long, and I feel a little bad that this
I'm gonna
meeting's
take my
going
vote for the chair away.
So I did this with my previous role as chair. As we mentioned earlier, the annual town meeting is on Tuesday, May 5th. And we finalized the warrant, we posted the warrant. But you can see in your packets that Chris and his team put together supplemental explanations for the warrant. Which includes a spot for us to make our recommendations and to be printed in there. So you can see that there's Finance Committee recommendations and then there's opportunity for Select Board recommendations. So what I thought we would do is just quickly go through the articles. I specifically want to talk about Article 20, but what I thought I would do is kind of like the moderator does. If there's any which you would like more discussion or any that you would vote not to recommend to town meeting, we'll put a hold on those so that Carla doesn't have to record 33 separate votes.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
So I'm just gonna go by them really fast. If there's any that you want to talk about in more detail, or if there's any that you would vote no, just tell me and we'll put a hold on them.
Can I ask a question about this?
Yes, you may.
Is this being driven by the reorganization of the board?
No.
I feel like, so this is the normal cycle every year.
The normal cycle, at least the years that I have been chair, is at the select board, the meeting before town meeting, we make recommendations on the
Okay.
articles.
Okay, thank you.
They haven't always in previous years printed the recommendations to the articles, so, but we voted on them in prior years in case we were asked at town meeting what the select board recommendation was. So the first article is prior year bills. So this is $890 for prior year bills. Article 2 is some line item transfers. Article 3 is appropriation to the stabilization fund, to the regular stabilization fund. Article 4 is appropriation to the capital stabilization fund. Article 5 is an appropriation to the special education reserve fund. Article 6, I would like to talk about a little bit more, so I'm going to put a hold on Article 6. And then Article 7 also is related to that. Article 8 is authorization to borrow in anticipation of revenue. Article 9 is acceptance of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee report.
Madam Chair, could I put a hold on that?
Yes. Article 10 is the salaries and stipends of elected officers. Article 11 is the budget appropriation. Did anybody want to talk about the budget in more detail? No, okay. Article 12 is funding the Marine Services Enterprise. Article 13 is the Water Line Enterprise. Article 14 is the Town Beach Enterprise. Article 15 is the Community Television. Article 16 is the expenditure limits for the revolving accounts. Article 17 is the Community Preservation Report. Article 18 is appropriation for a water line enterprise rate study. Article 19 is appropriation for the roll-off container. 20 is the foreclosed tax title properties, so I'm gonna put a hold on that one. 21 is appropriation for public safety training. 22 is appropriation for grant matching funds. 23 is appropriation for school technology. 24 is acceptance of personal property tax bill exemption. 25 is the personnel bylaw amendment. 26 is the appointment of the tree warden. 27 is parking restrictions and penalties at the landings. 28 is a zoning bylaw change for accessory dwelling units. 29 is the zoning bylaw change for building height. 30 is a bylaw change for the keeping of dogs. 31 is a zoning bylaw change for floodplain regulations. 32 is table of use revisions, which I think is related to Article 33, which is amend the zoning map for the village commercial zoning. Article 34 is the acceptance of Stacy Lane.
I have
Hold that one, please.
Okay, we'll hold that one.
Thank you.
35 is the easements in Francis Estates subdivision. 36 is an amendment for the Recall Act. All right, so we put a hold on 6, 7, 9, 20, and 34. So I'll entertain a motion to recommend all except those 5.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
I'm sorry, but hold on one second. I meant, which one did I put?
6, 7, 9,
Which
20, and
one?
34.
Oh, I said 34, I meant 35, I
Not
apologize.
35, okay.
Because the Stacy Lane is getting pulled, correct?
Yeah, so I would like just keep the hold so we can talk about
Okay,
that.
so let's hold on
Okay.
34 and 35?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you, sorry.
all right, so we're, everything except 6, 7, which, 9, 20, 34, and 35.
Yes,
Okay. Did we have a motion? In a second.
there was.
All right, all in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's unanimous on those.
Great.
All right, so going back up to 6 and 7 are related to the stabilization fund for collective bargaining and non-union personnel agreements, and then an appropriation to that. And I called this one out because you can see in the supplemental material that it was not unanimous from the finance committee. There was some discussion about it. So just wanted to call those out. So you want to just remind us what this is for, Chris?
Absolutely. So these two articles are both tied to each other. The first would establish a new stabilization fund for the purpose of setting aside funding for future collective bargaining and non-personnel agreements. So I know for the town operations, our union contracts are every 3 years. Now, just like with other town expenses, we do our best when we, develop our budgets to plan ahead. And so this stabilization fund would be another tool to plan for these anticipated expenditures ahead of time. So how it works right now is, when a contract is settled, it may or may not align with our budgeting timeline, our budgeting process. However, the obligation, is still there, if it's something that the town approves. So with that, this would provide us an opportunity, if there were expenses, to implement any contract. It wouldn't hit our free cash allocation in that given fiscal year. So rather than, allocating at the time of the agreement, we're setting aside money in advance for planning purposes, if you will. How the stabilization fund is structured, it provides the town some flexibility in terms of how it uses the funds. And I will note that taking money out of the stabilization fund requires a vote at town meeting. So, there would be obviously additional discussion and deliberation to make sure that this is the will of the town.
And I know we've talked about this several times, but one of the advantages of creating this is that it gives us a little bit of cushion in case the bargaining comes in higher, like we've had in the past, where we're kind of scrambling for money in mid-year for the bargaining. But kind of the downside of creating this is that it might impact your ability to bargain with the unions because they know the money's there, right?
I would say that would be my first concern. The second concern would be we negotiate a contract and then we have to call a special town meeting in order to release the funds from the reserve fund?
So with a contract, again, if that was something where we would need these funds or consider the use of these funds, that would be within whatever agreement we came up with. It would be contingent upon, getting the necessary approvals.
What's the advantage of having this in a collective bargaining stabilization fund rather than just putting it in a regular stabilization fund?
So my understanding is, for the purpose itself, you want it, and I think you are required to have it as a set aside versus just your regular rainy day fund. I think when you look at when the rating agencies see us tapping into our stabilization fund, I think there would be concerns if we were tapping into our general rainy day fund. Separate from that, you can't create sub-accounts. It'd all be kind of put together into one big slush fund.
Did you have more, Fred?
No, I'm still,
Yeah, I'm on the fence about this one,
yeah,
actually.
I'm not inclined to vote for it yet, so.
Yeah.
So, and maybe just in terms of, you mentioned the recommendations. So for Article 6, the Finance Committee, did recommend approval 6-2. And I think they also saw, those benefits and that there was an opportunity here. And if you looked at Article 7, I know we're not there yet, it was a split recommendation because I think the idea behind it was they wanted to chew on it a little bit more and have specific use cases and continuous discussions. So similar to are there financial policies and how we put money in, I think one of the things for the board to consider, if this is something that the board wants to support at town meeting, is setting up a policy for how you would like to see it used, and set up parameters to that effect. So that was some commentary at the Finance Committee meeting.
My concern is that I see that as $108,000 of guaranteed concessions during negotiations. Like, I work in a heavily unionized industry, and if my employer had a fund for collective bargaining, that's just money we're gonna go after. Versus, we just go after it after and they figure it out.
That's why
Does that make sense?
I have mixed
Yeah.
feelings about it.
Yeah, like, that's the $108,000 of guaranteed concessions.
That's mine too. I
Mhm.
mean, same thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I think, again, I think there's some ways to look at this. I think the thing that the town has to be prepared for is that, when we look at what is the cost to the town, one of the reasons for putting this forward originally was to give the town another option that it currently doesn't have when it comes to financial flexibility and financial planning. So I think the other thing to note here is that, in addition to whatever funds that we set aside in an account or plan for any given fiscal year, we also take into account other revenues that we're receiving as well. And so I think one of the things, especially when it comes to a fund like this, is this funding isn't guaranteed. This funding isn't readily available. So it's really contingent upon town meeting authorizing that expenditure. So, I think when you look at, what the funding is there, this may be something, again, if it was created and if there was money put into it, the board, again, this would be my recommendation, I wouldn't necessarily tap into that fund in the next year or two, because you would want to build up a fund, a balance within that account so that it could really serve the town and make a difference in the future. Similar to these other funds such as capital stabilization and whatnot. So, but, again, I think at the end of the day, it's at the discretion of the board.
So what do we think, gentlemen? Do you want to move to recommend or not recommend?
I would be suggesting we not recommend.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to not recommend article, are we doing both together? You want to do
Well,
them at a time?
if 6 fails, doesn't 7 fail?
If,
Right, isn't it you're creating?
let's vote on them together, so,
Yes.
so we're the motion to not recommend Article 6 and Article 7.
That would be what was my intent.
Okay, great. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? All right, so that's 5-0 to not recommend.
Madam Chair, I may ask a question at this point. So
Yeah.
I don't have the full list for tomorrow's deliberations, but on this item, is the Finance Committee recommending, do you recall? May I ask?
For 6 and 7? Or
Yeah, what are they saying?
So 6 was a 6-2, recommending approval. Article 7 was a split decision 4-4. So 4 were in favor of putting money into the fund if it was created, and 4 objected.
Clear as mud.
Yeah, why would you,
Yeah,
they didn't want the money in there.
They were conflicted too, so they were okay with creating the fund.
They didn't wanna put money in.
At least 2 people
Yeah.
didn't want to.
Well,
put
that's
money in.
okay. That doesn't pose a problem. And I was just curious if it might if they were approving it both like unanimously, then that would be, I'm not sure if my view would be any different, but that would be good to know before tomorrow, before we voted on this, but
So actually-
not a problem.
I have a question on that, all right? So, we just voted to not recommend.
Yes.
But we are the ones that sponsored the article, and so it would mean that in the normal situation, I would be the one making the, motion.
So in this case, if the board did not wish to advance the article for consideration, we could change the proposed motion to have it be a Passover article, both 6 and 7. So, and I think to answer the question earlier, if 6 failed, if it was acted on, 7 would be a Passover article anyways.
And you would need 2/3 vote on that anyway, right, obviously according to the note, so it's not a
So-
simple majority.
So maybe the vote we just took is not the right vote. So we voted to not recommend, but maybe we should vote to pass over Article 6 and 7.
It's the same effect. I mean, basically. We don't want it on, for action on a town meeting. So we've proposed it. I've seen it happen before where people have moved to pass over something they sponsored.
All right.
Because they've had deliberations, they've had feedback and,
Okay, so let's change that to, the proposed motion to be passed over, the articles. And then, and you don't think we need another vote to move to pass over? Because we just voted to not recommend, so.
I think we need to rescind the prior motion. Person recommending and the seconder should agree to that. And then we're starting with a clean slate with a new recommendation.
Okay, so.
Because that's out there, we've taken action now, it's there.
Yeah.
We gotta
Well, that's what
do
I'm saying,
that.
we could have a second, we can have a second vote. But I don't think we have to rescind the other one, I think we can just make a new one.
the reality is we're in effect doing the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we say maybe the cleanest thing is because we did put it on the warrant to begin with. So, and many times people will pass over their own recommendation.
Town meeting, you could just.
Yeah,
say-
we're just, like, what Dick just said was rescind the prior vote. But what I'm saying is, we voted not recommend, which is a valid vote. And then I'm saying, I think we need another vote to move to pass over Article
Correct.
6 and 7.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Hey, did you follow that, Carl?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Article 9, Dick, you want?
Yeah, this is a little tricky here. And I'm going to have to move ahead and say to Chris, if you allow me, Madam Chair, that tomorrow we're going to be talking about this, but tonight we're voting on it. It looks like the article is correct. I mean, the numbers and everything.
Okay.
The 20 items, $2 million.
Uh-huh.
So I don't see any problem with that. However, I'm the one who's going to present this at town meeting. And I was curious, and I think I want to know this tonight before tomorrow night. I don't really want to engage with town meeting folk on these 20 items. Like if somebody says, well, I don't agree with this particular McCumber Playground, $150,000, I'm really not looking forward to having a debate on this. I don't think that's my job here. I think that's the job of the moderator. So my first question is, have you had any discussion with the moderator about this, as to what he's going to do with this?
So, yes, I did have a meeting with moderator this past week, along with council and the town clerk, and talk about a couple of these articles that have a table where people can kind of go down the line and, flag anything that they have questions about. In that case, I believe he's going to, again, take them in order, if there is something that's pulled out of it. What I can advise them of is on specific questions, again, outside of the process of, well, how did the committee come to its decision? Or what, something that the committee acted on. But if it's project or equipment specific, I would just have him refer to the applicable board. So I don't think there's any expectation that you would answer those questions. I think if they said, well, why do we need this truck? I would,
Defer to the town administrator, who might defer to the police.
Correct.
Or the fire chief. or
Oh,
whatever.
okay, yeah.
Correct.
That's a better process,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of articles here. There's a
Yeah.
lot of discussion,
certainly.
and it's almost unwieldy. I'm tomorrow, when the town meeting with this, I'm going to recommend that we do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was my role or intended by this other document to get into that. That's what, the process is what you just described.
Yeah, I think the speaker here in this case is that you're going to make the motion,
Yep.
but
Okay,
you don't have to defend it.
all right. Yeah, well, I won't be prepared to defend it, or if I am, I got to do a lot of homework.
No, that's something that I'll tell the moderator ahead of time to refer to me and
Yeah, okay.
any of the applicable
And that'll work,
departments.
that'll work. Then the rest of it is fine, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right, so does anybody have any other discussion on the recommendation for Article 9? All right, so do we move to recommend, I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of Article 9.
Second.
Did I move that?
You did, you sounded like you did.
Moved it,
I said I would entertain a motion.
Oh, then I'll make a motion to approve it.
And I'll second it.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought you made the motion too.
Sorry, I spoke too quickly.
There's nothing wrong with that, Madam Chair.
Article 20, this is why Sue has been sitting in the back anxiously awaiting to explain this one again. So Article 20 is the appropriation for acquisition of foreclosed tax title properties. And I know this one is still confusing to me, so thank you,
Okay.
Sue. You're hoping you're gonna make it super clear for us.
I hope so. What can I tell you about it? The biggest problem is right now, if the town elects to keep or retain a property that's been foreclosed through tax title, through land court, we have a very tight timeline in which to adhere to. So in an ideal world, we would make that decision that we want to retain the property and then go out and seek funding. We'd put it on the next town meeting and so forth. The problem is that we have 120 days. If we're going to retain it, we have 120 days to get an appraisal done. And in theory, technically, once that appraisal comes in, we're supposed to put the funds for excess equity, which is the difference between the amount that the person actually owes us and what the property is worth, in an account and notify them that their money is available for them. So 120 days is not enough time for us to call a town meeting and vote, and also put an article on to say we want to purchase this specific property for this amount of money. We don't even have the total amount of money yet until the appraisal is done. And then to turn around and also go to ballot and get it voted excluded. So that's where the problem comes in with all the tax title changes to the tax title laws over the last 2 or 3 years. They've really tightened up the timeframes, and previous to this, we didn't have to pay the excess equity. We could just keep it. The town had the right to just foreclose and keep the property, so we didn't have to worry about the excess equity. Now we have 120 days to come up with that excess equity, and so that it's available to pay the person for what their remaining interest in the property is above what they actually owe us.
So I just want to make sure I understand this. So if someone is in significant arrears, so there's some amount that triggers this, and we were to foreclose on the property, there's a appraisal that's required to say, so we would receive, if there's appraisal that happens, we would have to sell the property, or?
No, this is only when we retain the property.
Okay, so when we keep the property, so we have the amount, let's just say it's a $500,000. If they owed us $100,000, we keep the 100, but we would owe the property owner the $400,000. The difference
Correct.
between the value of the appraised value, the difference between the appraised value of the property and what we owed them. We have to pay to the property owner in a
Correct.
very short period of time.
We have to, yes, within that 120 days, we have to get the appraisal done, and then once the appraisal's done, we have to notify the homeowner that the amount of what's due to them, and for them to allow them to come and claim it.
But and this is just the changes in the law. So have we had any that we have retained and foreclosed on in the recent years?
Not in recent years, which is actually a blessing, because they can retain, if we had any from 21 forward, they could claim it, their excess equity, going back to 21. And so we haven't done any since then. Anything that was done many years ago.
Okay, so this is not a big, we're not expecting to have to pay millions of dollars tomorrow after we play this.
No.
So the finance committee, so you had put the request forward for $5 million, but the finance committee recommended that it be changed to $2.5 million. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
I'm okay with the 2.5 million. I'm looking at the properties that we currently have that are in tax title, and they range considerably in assessment. And it's not the assessed value that we look at when we are looking at excess equity, but the actual sale, or the actual appraised value. And I believe in many of these cases, the appraised value will come in some cases, higher than what the actual assessment is, and which is why our values go up every year. And I think that of the properties that we have, that the 2.5 million, it's a case of, we'll have to see, it's how long it gets us, how far down the road it gets us. The original article that I based this on was actually an ag open space article that was for 2.5 million. I think they did it twice for 2.5 million or something of that nature. And they only spend down, as you stated in it for that example. In that case, we would only have to borrow the 400. So if we had authority to borrow up to 2.5 million, in a case like that, we would borrow that 400 that year. The next year, if there was another property and we needed 500 or 600 that year, we'd borrow that amount of money. And so it took us a while to actually go down through it. And then there was a year, I think we did six borrowings on the ag open space in 1 year, because there were several different opportunities that were presented in that year. And so we did do up to 6 separate borrowings in that year for ag open space. But in most years, we're not going to have that many. I only submit a few to land court at a time, and I will say this, the land court process is a very, very lengthy process. It takes 3 to 4 years to go through land court.
So Craig, not to put you on the spot, but so the most likely reason that we would invoke this is if a piece of property came under tax title and we would want to use it for affordable housing, say, so it would be like a higher value property probably because you'd need some acreage, right? So, and this kind of like more in your area of expertise, so just wondering if you have any comment on it.
No, because I think this is almost a property at a time, because in terms of housing, now you have the other variable, which is what is the market value in terms of what people can purchase and what is considered to be a median house price. And if you have if you have a vastly appreciated property, it probably, at least I'm thinking, it would make it more problematic from an affordable housing, because you have a bigger nut in order to make it, I think we're looking at property that is at or below the market.
Yeah.
I just want to finish the thread that Shauna was on. So let's say we have an exactly $5 million piece of property that goes to tax sale and the town decides to retain it. So per the way this warrant article is written, it has to get past the town meeting, and then it has to go for a 2.5 exclusion on the ballot.
Yes.
Before we're even allowed to retain that property, because there's no funding mechanism until the 2.5 exclusion is in place.
Correct.
Which means that if this is passed, you're gonna have to see on the ballot next year, request for the town to be able to borrow $5 million to purchase distressed properties to retain for our own.
To purchase excess equity in foreclosed properties.
So there's really 2 parts to this equation. It has to pass the town meeting, and then it has to pass a ballot measure for a 2.5 exclusion, which people go down rabbit holes and then they'll think to themselves, oh, what's the town planning?
Yeah, so just a point of clarity on that. So if this did pass town meeting, it would require a ballot vote because it would be excluded debt as it's proposed. It would be the ballot this fall. There is a time limit to how soon after a vote like this is taken, so it would be on the state primary ballot
Oh, it'd
this
be on the
fall.
primary, okay.
That's
They
correct.
don't let you,
No,
they don't let you put the articles on the primary, on the state ballots.
no, I think we're gonna have, there's no way avoiding having to get two for the price of one in terms of a special town meeting.
So that was the recommendation from council, and I can follow up with them to make
I
sure
mean,
that's
maybe it's the-
accurate.
Maybe it's the November ballot. I know we tried this at some point. I don't remember. There was,
Presidential?
it might have been
So
the presidential, it might have been the November ballot that we couldn't put anything on.
I think it's the federal, yeah.
But this would have to go to town meeting vote as a debt exclusion without, so it would be a debt exclusion up to whatever the amount is in the motion.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So not a debt exclusion after we decided to purchase this property. It has to be before that.
Correct.
Okay.
It would have to be an open-ended up to the 5 million. It doesn't mean we're gonna go out and borrow 5 million, but we
It
could.
authorized it. So, and a September ballot, even, because before when we've had debt exclusions, there's like 120 days or something. And there's not 120 days before the September primary,
So from what council said, it has to be before September 15th.
before September 15. Okay,
Yes.
so if we couldn't put it on the primary ballot, you'd have to have another ballot.
Yeah.
A town ballot, on the same date.
Yeah, and talking to Chris, I think she said the state ballot September 9th, if I recall correctly. It is before the 15th.
Okay, so it would have to go, we'd have to pass a town meeting, and then it would have to pass a debt exclusion.
Correct.
Okay.
In a primary with no turnout.
Well,
It'll be a low turnout.
it might be a lot of turnout if
It may- it
if
might
the
get
debt
turnout.
exclusion.
Yeah. It'll be a lot if there's 5 million, a little less than 2.5.
Right.
And it's a tricky one to tell people, because you're authorizing up to 5 million, but probably won't be spending it, right? You're not, it doesn't actually hit your property tax until it actually
Yeah, so
becomes
in
reality.
theory, it's not gonna add a single dollar of tax on
It
somebody's
would if
taxes.
you started
If
borrowing.
you start borrowing against it, but if you're not borrowing against it, it's not going to. So it's a weird debt exclusion.
It's weird.
But that's a very hard one to try and be able to market and explain to
Yeah,
people.
it is.
The reason it has to be debt excluded is even if we borrow 400,000, that would hit, if it's not excluded debt, it would hit our budget.
Well, right, because, so the problem is if it isn't a debt exclusion, we're still required to purchase the property or we're still required in that situation to go to the property owner, to get that money to the property owner, previous property owner. I
That's
guess
why
we
the
were the
debt
property owner.
exclusion is what we want.
So then you have to go to a debt exclusion.
Right. Or the other option is that we just cannot retain any property.
Right. Yeah.
And to that point, you said, when was the last property retained, do you know offhand, by the town? Is
No.
it like a land conservation trust or conservation,
Oh, there's a
anything like
lot,
that?
with the Ag Open Space
Yeah.
one, we did a lot of them. That was
Okay.
that was
But
the
that-
Santos property, there was.
But the ag open space, I might be, correct me if I'm
That was
wrong, but that was not tax title foreclosure, that was
No, it
a
was
right of
not.
first refusal.
Okay. Oh,
So-
that's right, with
so-
61A stuff.
So the people who are on special tax exempted status, we have the right of first refusal, so that's most of that stuff.
But there-
Right,
in those
correct.
cases, there are other entities that usually help
Right,
raise
that
the
usually-
money
Yeah.
for
Correct,
that.
too, yes.
We're not talking about the town.
As far as, when was the town last, I'm just gonna say that there hasn't been a lot done with tax title land in some time.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it caught up.
All right, so I think this is, I'm glad we talked about it, because I understand it better now. But, so the finance committee had recommended it at a $2.5 million number. So I guess, do we want to recommend at 5 million, recommend at 2.5, or not recommend?
I think it sounds like a good thing for the health of the town. I think whatever number is gonna be there is gonna be a sticker shock and gonna be a very big problem in regards to sticker shock. But I think it's good for the health of the town.
Yeah.
I will say if we were to borrow 5 million over a 10-year period, using my crystal ball on the rates at the time, it's more like $70 per year for an average home. If we spread it out over 30 years, it would be $35. If we borrowed the whole 5 million in 1 year and spread it out over 30 years, it'd be $35 for the average home. Like I say, I'm using that crystal ball and.
So
Do we have any debt exclusions rolling off in the next 3 to 5 years?
The first one will be the fire station,
Okay.
and that's not too far down the road.
I didn't think so, because that if it was 20 years or close to the 20-year mark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's over 50.
that one will be fairly soon.
So, so I know I'm inclined to support this because I think
Yeah.
it gives us the flexibility in this situation. But I'm also inclined to not argue with the finance committee recommendation and to use their 2.5 million number.
I agree, because they will show a little bit of consensus on that one, so we don't create a debate between the difference of our recommendation and theirs. Two, we do, you know, it's not, we're not doing, we're doing this in the context of the other debt exclusions that some are, at least one is probably rolling off sometime fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I would say, quite honestly, at this point, I don't foresee that we would be looking at borrowing anything due to the fact that it takes 3 to 4 years to go through land court, that we would be looking at borrowing anything anytime in the next year or two anyway.
All right, so what's the pleasure of the board?
I think I agree with you on the motion for the 2.5 million.
Yeah, so, and if I may, just, if the board wanted to do it similar to how the finance committee's printing it, they put it in as 2 recommendations. So they did a don't recommend as printed, and they did a separate recommendation to recommend the borrowing of 2.5 million.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
second.
Any further discussion?
The only discussion is I think it's going to be very difficult to get on the ballot to explain, because we just spent about 20 minutes with us explaining it.
And we have
That's the problem.
discussed this within the last
Yes.
several months already.
And we've done it before.
We
so-
talked about it before and I was confused.
It's
I
unlikely.
do have some information here. I don't know if you have some time tomorrow. Maybe you and I can work on a
Yeah,
handout or something that may explain it a little better.
I think I
Yeah.
think you need a handout.
yeah.
And-
And we can,
and,
we can incorporate into the motion sheet as well. Yeah, we'll link up.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
All right, so 34 was the acceptance of Stacy Lane.
So the update on this is, as the board recalls, we had the layout hearing, and this was approved with conditions that they satisfy the requirements of Conservation Commission prior to town meeting so that we could act on it. They have not gotten their certificate of compliance from Conservation Commission. You know, I did talk to Chris. He let me know that the agenda was already posted for their meeting tomorrow, and they're not on their agenda. So at this point in time, I do not see that they will be able to satisfy the requirements set out by the board. So based on that, it would be my recommendation, if, again, this is how the board wants to handle it, to pass over that article at town meeting. And we have reached out to their representatives to notify them that we would be considering that because of that.
Okay, so this is, they don't have proper approvals yet.
Yeah, so they have an outstanding item with Concom.
All right, so, and then, and they can no longer meet the 7 days prior
Correct.
to town. All right. So do we want to move to pass over that?
Motion to pass over.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. All right, and then
35.
35 is the easements for the Francis Estates subdivision.
Yeah, were we gonna get, I just didn't understand it, and I, the last time I abstained from, I think, the vote on it. Is this for a development off of Charlotte White, that we're giving them authority to build the development because of these easements, or what exactly is this?
So, yeah, let me just pull up that so I can speak better to it here. Apologies.
I think this has been an ongoing issue, right, for a while?
It's easements for the cemetery and the cistern so that the town could access them.
Where is this location, though? Is this?
I think it's off Charlotte, it's the one off Charlotte.
Like, right after Atlantic Salvage, or right around?
Yeah, right behind the junkyard over there.
But that's been in flux for a while. Is this something that we needed to do to allow that development to go forward, or this has been probably a decade that it's been?
They got a new sign out there, so
I
they
saw
must
that.
have, they
That's
must
what I'm
have a
saying.
new, they must have a new builder.
My apologies.
So the town meeting isn't accepting subdivisions or anything, but the town meeting it has to accept easements.
Okay.
So Dia, who has been the point person from the planning department that has been working with the developer, she has provided us a memo at the end of March. So this is the Francis Estate subdivision off of Charlotte White Road in Westport. As of March 31st, the subdivision has not begun construction. They're currently in the process of transferring the subdivision ownership from Ron Oliveira and Val Paulo to Matthew Patello. When the transfer is finalized and before they can begin construction, a new covenant of lots has to be established for surety under Matthew Patello's name. And as part of that transfer, they're finalizing the homeowners association documentation, which is under review by council. My understanding is one element of this transfer is that easement access piece for the town side of things. So, for the reasons that we had stated before.
But I do want to point out, so the article authorizes the select board to enter into agreements. It does not require us to enter into an agreement. So once they sort out whatever things they got to sort out, we could still vote no. We wouldn't have to accept the easements.
And is there a cemetery back in there, I guess?
That is my understanding.
I know there is.
Apparently.
Betty has uncovered
Yeah.
over 100
100,
cemeteries
yeah.
in town, so
Yeah.
apparently
They're everywhere.
So we could pass over it, but we don't exactly, we lose control of it. We can still, I mean, what?
So town meeting, the article authorizes the select board to enter into agreements, right? So we're authorized to do it if it came before us,
Then,
because you require
so
the
we're
town.
not passing over. We're just.
I don't think we should, my opinion is we should recommend the article.
Yeah.
And then if we had
And then that
concerns
would-
about the subdivision, we could do that when we.
We have
enter into
another way of pulling back or slowing it down. Okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
got it.
And if you give me
So we
one
won't-
second.
No action then.
I think we want to,
All right.
my opinion is we should vote to recommend the
Yeah,
article.
yeah.
So move.
Second.
Did you follow that?
No, I think he was looking for something, I don't know.
Okay.
So I was just looking to see if there was any other additional context from council, but we've pretty much covered the ground, so.
So this would be town meeting authorizing us to enter into an agreement, but doesn't require us to enter into it.
All right, I'll vote for it.
Okay. Persuaded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. So that was all of them, so we're all set. So Chris, thank you for putting that together. And thank you for the time you're gonna spend tomorrow to explain it to anyone who's interested in learning more about it.
I think that's actually a great move. I think if we can streamline a little bit, town meeting, any help and any, and I'll try to direct people to that, I know to that.
Direct people to the meeting and then the
Yeah.
recording
The
after.
recording after.
Yeah. So 5K, a request to assign the RFQ evaluation of A&E professional services for Briggs Road Fire Station Link Water Main Extension to the Infrastructure Oversight Committee. Do you want to explain this?
Certainly. So as the board knows, we have published a request for qualifications for the bidding services and construction administration associated with the Briggs Road Fire Station Water Main Extension Project. That is currently being advertised right now. As part of the procurement documents that were published and in line with town policy, there is a committee that needs to be set up that scores and rates the applications that we get in. So my recommendation to the board would be to refer this to the IOC, to have its representatives serve as the board's review committee, and ultimately, their recommendation will come back to the board for an approval and for an agreement, so.
So I know you're on that committee, Jake.
Yes.
Do you have an opinion on that?
So I was okay with it in the last infrastructure oversight committee because the efficiencies and economies of scale of using the same, obviously, agreement in place, so I have no issues with it.
Just to be clear, all we're voting on is whether the select board reviews the RFQs or if the infrastructure oversight committee reviews the RFQs.
So it wouldn't be the select board that would score them. The board would designate a body or individuals to serve as that review committee. The IOC has served as that intermediary historically, so that's what's before you for consideration this evening, but the board could.
The final decision would still be with us.
Yes.
I'm saying, all we're figuring out is who's scoring the
Yeah.
packages.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the IOC does, and then it comes back to us based upon what, almost similar to the town warrant, what the IOC said or the vote was, so.
We have a motion.
Oh, wish to approve.
We have a motion to approve very quietly, and a second, very quiet. All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't know if it was, I didn't know if there was a motion on that.
I know that we're getting kind of late.
I'm getting tired.
Is this next one really gonna be something we can handle right now? or-
So this is what I was gonna ask. So Chris did an amazing job putting together his 90-day report, but I thought I would check the temperature of the board to see if you want to continue tonight with this, or if you want to wait until we have not been in 2.5 hours of meetings to discuss it.
I read through it, I think it was very good, but I actually think there's some good discussion points that we could have, so
Yeah,
maybe if we
yeah.
did it to the May, is it 11th?
May 11th?
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
use it.
I know one item that Chris and I talked about. So Craig it's in the correspondence in the files. Craig had asked me to put on a request from the Affordable Housing Commission Authority.
Yes.
Um,
Well, trust.
The Affordable Housing Trust, there we go. And I meant to put it on the warrant, but when we went to talk about the long-term building planning committee, I forgot that the request from the Housing Authority was related to the long-term building use. So I apologize to Craig. I do want to talk about that at the next
Yes, and
meeting.
the long and short of it is, the long-term building committee has pretty much stopped. We're suggesting that we have another crack at looking at the campus of the former high school as a possibility for affordable housing, because it wasn't part of the consideration under the committee. That will be another deliberation and another recommendation, but what happened was we did lose that opportunity, and the commission, our trust did vote unanimously to ask that we be given consideration, both in terms of the meeting with our RGB and working with them, and that any cost that are modest cost associated with that would be paid under our line item for pre-development cost. So we have money in the budget for that.
So I think we already have a rather packed agenda for the May 11th, but I think that request from the Affordable Housing Trust, and I think how should we approach the old high school reuse, I think should be on the next, including possibly dissolving the committee, should be on the next discussion.
Yeah, May 11th.
Yeah, May 11th.
Well, it was on the initial draft of this.
It was on the initial draft, and I took it off because I thought the meeting was getting kind of long.
Yeah, that's,
And then I forgot that Craig had specifically asked me to put it on, so.
Is there value in looking at what we have for committees in town and figure out which ones have outlived their life?
I think there is.
that's in your report, isn't it?
Yeah, that's another one
Yeah.
that's in Chris's report. So, so I'd already said we need to look at the ones that we're appointed on, but maybe we need to look, I think we should look at all of them.
I
actually.
agree.
There's a couple that I think are, I know I'm on the Internet Advisory Committee, and we haven't met in like 2 years, so that one could be dissolved. So maybe look at, see how long it's getting, but definitely want to talk about long-term building next time, because I made a mistake. All right, and then we'll talk about your report. But it gives us more time to absorb.
Yes.
Don't disregard all the slides that you're about to see.
Fast forward through those.
Fast
The
forward,
amazing
yes.
content that you had.
Yes.
I really appreciate that you put that together.
All I'll say to that is that if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to giving the presentation at a next meeting.
Thank you. Did you have anything in your report other than that?
No, just that it reflected on my first 90 days here. Observations, suggestions, some of which were talked about tonight. And, yeah.
Well, so I'm looking at your report. So you talk about the town meeting, so we've talked about that extensively. You talk about health insurance open enrollment period?
Yes, so right now, open enrollment for our employees, if they're interested in either changing their plan or signing up for town insurance. It was not as much of an increase as we initially budgeted, but is still a little bit more than I think most people would like to see. We're watching it. And then I also make a note, we did receive word from Senator Michael Rodriguez, or Roderick, my apologies. It's late, it's 2.5 hours, regarding the state working on their supplemental budget, the fair share supplemental budget. On the Senate side, they did propose some supplemental funding for a capital expenditure with the highway department for snow blower attachment. They're currently in deliberations with the House to reconcile their two supplemental budgets. But we did receive that notice, and we thank him for his support, as well as all of our state representatives and delegates.
All right, thank you. Approve the minutes.
Motion to approve, for the last time, motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Report on the bill warrant.
Yeah, it was the usual. I think this was 3 million. It's in your package. We don't have to approve it. It's all in order, as I indicated. So that's complete, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So then we have select board committee reports and suggestions for future agenda topics. So Craig, anything else from you?
No, I think you know what I'm looking for that committee, and then the other committee I serve on is the long-term building committee. That was discussed in the last item. So the only other one is the opioid settlement advisory committee. And we did meet since our last meeting, and we are getting closer to getting an RFP out for projects.
Okay, thank you.
And when that is available, then I'll be more than happy we can invite in the chair and vice chair of the committee, or I'd be more than happy to report to the board on what we're doing in the time frame for that.
All right, thank you. Dick?
A little busier. They had a meeting of CERTA. That was to approve the budget, and that was typical 2.5%, nothing radical there. And free bus service is continuing for the foreseeable future, which is quite interesting. I asked where the money's coming from. It was some grants. And, but apparently there's enough to keep it going for a while. A while wasn't clearly defined. But there is sentiment on that advisory committee to keep that going as long as possible, because once you try to bring it back, that creates a lot of problems. But anyway, that's the road they're on, and so far, so good. The audit committee is meeting on Monday night to meet with the town auditor, and of course, we will recommend that he come in before the select board, either by Zoom or whatever we call it. And so that's coming. We've been working on the Barrier Beach question, and there'll be more coming on that shortly. Richard, you were involved in that discussion as well. Jake, you were involved in that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are.
Conservation side more than anything.
Yeah, we're trying to work up a meeting with the East Beach Improvement Association, your admirers. But anyway, I did attend as liaison to the Select Board Landing Commission meeting. We want to get more energetic about our town landings, of which there are many. I have not yet seen a complete list of town landings. We're going to do that, and then start to look at what we need to do to preserve those town landings. They're slowly going away, and people are claiming that it's their property when it really isn't. So we need to do an inventory on that, and then in a slow, multi-year process, start to reclaim those landings, and clearly put signs on them and enforce that. Otherwise, these are going to be lost and we're never going to get them back. So that's an important discussion, and I thought it was long in coming. I did not attend the recent meeting of the Council on Aging, but we covered that meeting tonight with the approval of the job description. And we met today, the Commission on Disability. I don't have anything to report on that. It was routine matters, but that's going along. So keep them busy, but not a lot here that's actionable, as they say, Madam Chair. And that's it.
Thank you. I had to refresh my memory. I've been in a lot of meetings. So we had a meeting of the Bike Committee like 2 weeks ago. They're preparing for Bike Month, which I think is May, but there's, not a lot going on there. We did have an event on Saturday where we had bike recycling event at the transfer station. So there's recycling. There's a shed down there by where the Boy Scouts are. There's a shed for people to drop off and pick up bikes. We had 2 bikes that were homed, that were found a home, and then we had 17 bikes that were dropped off in various levels of condition. So just a reminder to everybody that that's down there. You can bring a bike or take a bike. Some of them in need of a lot of elbow grease. They're not super good shape, but thank you to the Bike Committee for doing that and getting the sheds down there. I attended a meeting, the Westport 250, where they talked about some of the events that they have going on. I was also able to attend the induction ceremony from the school for their innovation pathway. This is, they have programs set up at the school department for the middle high school for people to pursue careers in STEM or health science. I guess health sciences is STEM, but health sciences, they have a health sciences track and an engineering track. So they have maybe 30 students that are participating in that. So that was nice. And then we had a meeting of the Cable Advisory Committee. So the Cable Advisory, we kind of talked about, there's going to do some improvements to that room down there, I guess. So Chris has been working with John, I guess, for the room down at the end of the hallway. And then we talked a lot about the concern really coming from Cable Advisory is that is 100% supported. So this is how all our community television is going out, through the Cable Advisory Fund. It's funded through a surcharge on your charter cable bill. It's not your internet bill, it's your cable bill. And as there's some concern about, as people are moving away from cable television and onto streaming services, that will reduce the revenues that are available. So the Cable Advisory has quite a bit of money that they've collected over the years, but if cable revenues decline, then that's going to be something we'd have to look to fund. I don't think it's a problem in the next year or two, but it might be a problem later down the road about how to fund our community television.
That's a legal requirement to fund it?
It's contractual with Charter Spectrum. And it's only we only have a contract with Charter Spectrum for the cable, not for the internet. So it's in the contract. It possibly a law too, but I think it's in the contract. And then I have some meetings coming up. We have meeting, so we have town meeting on Tuesday and our little meeting at 6:30 before that. I have school building committee meeting is on May 6th. And then Offshore Wind is meeting on May 7th. So lots of meetings next week. It'll be fun times. Oh, climate resilience. The climate resilience committee is coming up this week. Climate resilience. Lots of meetings. That's all for me.
Just to follow up, I was at the Westport Bicentennial as well. Good meeting, just laying out the events. Obviously, the one that will hopefully happen on this Thursday. This week, we have Infrastructure Oversight Committee. We have Climate Resiliency Committee. The following week is the Offshore Wind. So next week and a half, we'll have a few to get through. So that's all I have.
Okay. I don't think, you haven't had,
No
this is your
meeting.
first meeting.
I'm educating myself as much as possible. I have 7 hours of time free to myself in Chicago and Puerto Rico on Wednesday, so if you give me reading assignments, I'll definitely take those reading assignments.
Okay. So next time is comments and statements from the public. We don't have any public here. Anybody have?
Public's all gone.
Public left.
We scared them away. Carla?
No one can complain that they're missing a football game today, okay? Just a reminder to the public, we have lots of vacancies on lots of committees, so if you're interested in participating in town, let us know, and we'll find a place for you. And I don't think we have anything under 48 hours.
We do not.
Okay, so I will see you all on Tuesday, May 5th at 6:30, right before town.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.